Bada bing. There it goes. Last session's an easy recap. A lot of us didn't want to get out of bed. I think Leovold might have an alcoholism problem. We also learned that Troy's been hiding a amazing Irish accent for like a year. So that's fucking cool. And also Andy has like a killer Australian accent. That's super dope. We learned that too. Bastiabus is Australian, which gives me, that's a lot of pressure because that means that like at some point I'm going to have to do an Australian accent, and I hate that for me. Damien and what is your character's name? I'm going to keep seeing Ohio's for Lovers and I'm going to blank. You're muted, or maybe something's wrong. You ding-a-ling. Oh, this guy. Does anybody else remember his name? I can't remember it now.
Avriel?
Azriel or Azriel?
Avriel.
We learned that he is like a goth teenager, essentially. And Damien's also kind of an edgelord. And then Darren is like a teacher's pet and also likes to like study corpses, which was kind of interesting.
Anything. She's gonna study anything.
Avriel. I mean, we figured it out when you left, but I was like, I looked at you and I was like, Halton Heights. I couldn't think of anything else. Also, Gothic Church is a nice touch, by the way. And then we got chased by like snake monsters and a gigantic creature that we never really quite saw, but it definitely was some sort of worm-like gargantuan monstrosity that wanted to eat us. And it threw up on the ship. And then we managed to open the wings and jet out of there to safety. In the aftermath of that fight, you guys went about the ship. And I am going to ask for the first check of this actual first session. You guys did get level 2. I just want to remind, in case anybody forgot, not a super difficult level to really quick right in. So if you forgot to do that for any reason, you can do it now. If you remembered, perfect. And the first check of the first session, perception and or investigation. If you think there's something that you could be doing on the ship to be checking for like damage or maintenance that falls outside of those two things, or if you think your character just wouldn't do that and might be doing something else. For instance, maybe Bastiabus wants to check on Heteru instead. Maybe he's more focused on checking on Heteru. Maybe Darren is a little bit worried about like Nettie and her assistant in the cabin or something and isn't actually going to check up on the ship. Valid. And if you think there's something else you could be doing, perhaps insight check or something like that to see, is Heteru good? I want to cook Heteru some food. How do I do that? Etc. But if you think you're just like pretty cool with listening to the captain when he tells you to go and check the ship for damage, perception and or investigation.
Damien rolled a 12.
I think I would check the ship first, especially if the captain asked, but I would want to go on check on Nettie and her assistant at some point. I rolled a 21 for investigation.
Look at you.
I'm smart this time.
It's a different, this is a different campaign. Here we go.
Different vibes.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Avriel doesn't check the ship. How about Leovold?
He'd be in the engine area.
Give me Arcana, perhaps. Damien. I feel like there's a chance that Damien might be feeling a little frustrated after the fight. And although like he's like presenting himself as if he's kind of looking around, checking on the ship, you might not be, and or otherwise you're distracted. So like, you don't really notice. It looks fine. There's some parts of the ship that are definitely clearly like more damaged than they were previously, but nothing where you're like, anything's in danger. However, Darren, you do notice that from that black liquid that was shot out of that worm monster's mouth, that there is some more significant damage. It looks like some parts of the ship have actually been like burned through, and you get a little bit curious to see, like, how far does that go? And you go down to the second level of the ship, and you see that there are spots where like larger pools of that black liquid did sit and managed to leak in through the floor, hit the second floor, and you see that there's a spot where like a bed got burned through. There's like a table that was like kind of burned. You keep following that down, you see that it actually burned through to the second floor, and then you're like, oh shit. So you go down to the engine room, and you find Leovold. Leovold, what was your Arcana check?
Arcana was a 24.
You're down in the engine room, and before Darren even gets down there, I'm going to say this process that I'm walking Darren through is probably like a few minutes. You kind of got done the fight. The captain was like, let's make sure everything's okay. And you just immediately went down to the engine room. So you've already kind of been down there. And Darren, when you walk in, Leovold's already in the process of seeing that the room is slowly filling with cloud. And the engine is, while not being used, because we did already fly, we've since descended and got back on the clouds. The engine itself does look like it sustained a little bit of damage, and there's actually a few pipes that carry this liquid form of Aethra into the ignition that are slightly burned through, not to the point where like they are immediately leaking, but enough that this plasma solution could eventually worsen that effect and cause like a decompression and leakage, which could be really, really dangerous. And Leovold, how do you react to that? The room, there is some holes that have been bored through the ship, where the ship is now actively taking on this buoyant cloud, sort of liquid almost. And the actual engine itself, while technically operational, like maybe if you hit it again, it would be okay. But from this point forward, without doing some repairs, every time you activate the ignition process, you are risking engine failure and possibly even like an internal collapse, possibly combustion. You might be muted, even though it doesn't say you're muted, but I can't hear you talking.
Do we have any material on the ship for quick patch repairs?
100%. There would definitely be some stores of just like wood planking, some sort of patching material, and then for like the actual engines and stuff, that would probably be your responsibility, as well as I'm still getting used to all of my NPCs. Let me just go real quick here so I can start getting used to them. Let me just reference her, even though she's not actually here. That would be you and Kelty's responsibility, would be to maintain and procure materials for engine repair, which you would be privy to.
I also have mending. I don't know that I would.
And on that Arcana 24, I guess it would be mending would probably be helpful. That's for sure. What I'm curious to see is, Leovold, you roll high enough to like recognize there's a problem and also know what the solution to that problem is. And is Leovold like the kind of guy where he's like calm, cool, and collected? Is he the kind of guy where he gets kind of like aggravated in this sort of situation? Is he the kind of guy that, how does he react to? Darren walks down and sees that the room is effectively slowly taking on.
I feel like right now Leovold is kind of just begrudgingly fixing it. I feel like he's told the captain, like, we need to upgrade parts. Like, we need finer materials for this to continue. So he's just probably, like, patched this thing a handful of times. So he just, like, fucking, God damn it, dude, taking a wrench, ratchet, banding and all that just to plug holes in pipes and pressure fit things so it runs somewhat smoothly, kind of like limping instead of straight out catastrophe potentially.
So Darren, when you walk down, you hear Leovold possibly like cursing under his breath. He's like focused on the repairs. He doesn't necessarily, he may or may not know that you came down or care that you came down. And you see that the room is like there's just enough cloud in there where like when you step in, it just kind of like pops, sort of like it's this strange substance that's like almost like water, but not quite like water. Not like wet, but it is wet. And it's not doesn't act as a liquid, it acts as a gas, but then it's like a very dense gas. Then it's like disturbed with all almost like again, and sort of acting more like gas. Your character's obviously you as a human being, not so much, but a Darren would be like, this is completely normal, except for the fact that it's inside the ship and it's supposed to be outside the ship.
Well, this doesn't seem great. Do you need any help?
Takes a second for him to realize someone's in the engine room besides him. Just as you see him, as you see him with a wrench, just like hitting something as if it was a hammer. Just turn around like, fuck. Oh.
I'm pretty handy with tools too.
Well, if you're gonna be down here, then fucking make yourself useful.
Okay. What can I do?
Well, if you're handy with tools, then there's a spare toolbox that the other lass uses, but she's not here, so just grab her set and patch any holes that you see in so we don't blow up.
Okay. Sounds good.
All of this we'll have to deal with later.
Okay.
Darren, as you start patching, you do think that your mending spell would be good enough to get some of the holes in the floor. There's a few that are slightly too big and will have to be like manually repaired, at least like somewhat. You'll have to like kind of half repair it by hand, and then maybe after that you can mend it, which will take a little bit more time. You can give me sleight of hand.
Oh man.
So is she fixing the floor or the engine? I'm curious.
I would leave that up to her. She could also fix the engine. Same check.
Okay.
That's what Leovold's doing, is
Sure.
working on the engine.
If I have Tinker's tools proficiency, do I get anything additional?
I think Tinker's tools would help you more with the engine than with the floor.
Okay, then that I would.
Tinker's tool proficiency would help with the engine if that's what you decide, if it's what you think is the most important thing.
Well, I rolled a 10 for 13. So if I could add my proficiency, that'd make it 15. Oh, wait, I can give myself guidance. That's a thing I have.
Yeah, and guidance is a reaction. I need to put in the homebrew rules, but I've gotten so used to it at this point where I'm like,
I rolled a 1.
what is your name?
Okay, so yeah, 16 if it's the engine.
You start working on the engine along with Leovold. Perhaps just like in quiet work. You kind of see what he's doing, and you have taken the time to see where there are some other problem areas of like singed pipe, slightly corroded pipe, and you see what he's doing, which seems to be like kind of banding and adding supports to these damaged areas to try to slow the process of eventual breakage. And you start doing the same thing. And between the two of you, fixing the engine up to the point where like, if we go ahead and hit the button, you know, we pull the lever cronk, and we start blasting off. We got maybe one or two pull the levers before we have to do this again. And that takes you guys, with the combined effort, about 15 minutes. At that point, the cloud in the ship has gotten a little bit higher, probably to like above the ankle, like just kind of starting to hit your shin. Not enough where it's like a huge problem, but it's a problem. And before I deal with that, I'm going to jump over to Damien. You're on the deck. You see Aetra up top. You see here, who tends to just kind of stand towards the helm of the ship and kind of like look out. He may have his sword like in hand, kind of in front of him. Very statuesque sort of dragonborn figure. Red scaled dragonborn. He wears like this kind of mishmash of plate mail and leather that offers some of the protection of heavy armor, but some of the mobility of leather armor. Very pragmatic warrior, as far as you know, depending on like what level of relationship you may or may not feel your character may have with him. But I will say that Orskier is one of the more reserved NPCs. Hetaru, on the other hand, who I'm sorry isn't actually up top. He went down below deck, and you've seen that after the fight. So actually on deck it's just you, Captain Edberg, up at the at the helm of the ship, and then Orskier at the front of the ship, which is not the helm. I need to go read up my naval. Luckily, Tom's not here, or he'd be.
And just to confirm, Orskier
the
is
front.
the Dragonborn, right?
Yes, Orskier Dragonborn. He is a red Dragonborn, who you don't know. I'm going to hazard to guess your character may not know much about him. I would allow you to make a history check, perhaps, to see if that's false. Bashiabas, are you up here, or have you descended?
Seeing that everybody's kind of checking on like the faculties of the ship itself, he's probably going to check on some of the crew before he heads down to see Hetaru.
When you say some of the crew, are you talking about the other PCs, or are you talking about there are on the deck that your character would know about? There is Nettie and her assistant, who are the navigators, and they never revealed themselves. They are inside of the cabin. They have a compartment behind the captain's quarters. That is this sort of like observatory space where Nettie performs these sort of like astrological rituals to determine things like the direction to an Aethra deposit. And she also used it to try to do some like foresight type rituals as an astrologist. And you know that they're there. You haven't seen them yet, but you know that they're there. And you know the Captain Edwards up top. He is the one guiding the ship. And then obviously if you're on board, if you're up top, you would see Damien and you would see Orskier at the front of the ship, whatever that's called. Luckily, Tom's not here to punch me.
Okay, yeah, probably just like some of the ship hands, probably not like PCs, but some more of the NPCs. Just general perception, give them a glance over, make sure they're okay enough to perform their duties, and then he'll go check on his guy.
Give me a perception check. And then after that perception check, depending on what it is, I may ask you to roll an insight check, but we'll see how that goes.
17.
So you see Orskier at the front. As I said, very stoic sort of figure. He's just kind of standing at the front of the ship, looking out over the blue, and has a sword kind of held in front of him. And he like is if you painted him gray, you'd think he was like a street performer. The man is like completely unflinching, unmoving, and you didn't see him really take any damage. You know that he, of everybody on the ship, besides maybe Yelma and possibly the captain, maybe depending on your own personal opinion as a character, Orskier may be the person you think the most proficient in battle, possibly only surpassed by Yelma, the Southern Storm. He seems fine. He's doing his whole job. His job is he's a mercenary that's hired to make sure that you guys don't die. He's trying to do that for the most part. The captain is guiding the ship, and then there is Damien on board, who you see. What is Damien doing, Connor?
I feel like he's just looking around, like out at sea. I feel like he's not paying attention too much to the ship. If people bring attention, like all the like problems, he'll probably go help, but he's probably not going off to look around.
So far, nobody's brought attention to it. It's been kind of like it's out of your perception that there's like something going on. Bashiabas, give me for these people, give me an insight check.
That'll be a 15.
Orskier is super stone-faced. It's very hard to tell what's going on behind the mask. And depending on like your character's disposition towards other people, which I suspect is, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's not maybe the kind of guy to pry. But maybe he is. I mean, you've been a pirate your whole life, so I feel like it could go either way. You could be like a very charismatic man, or you could be like totally like we have a job to do and like I'm not going to worry about you as a human being. He seems okay. Very unflinching. Like he's literally like not even blinking. It's like this man's like probably a robot. Damien, on the other hand, I will ask Damien if you feel like possibly Fasciabus might notice that there's something bothering you, and you don't want him to know that something's bothering you, or if nothing is bothering you, you can tell me, like, this is your opportunity to be like, yeah, Damien's fine, or Damien does have issues. If you feel like he might notice there's something bothering you, and you don't want him to notice something's bothering you, you could give me a deception check. If nothing's bothering you, then nothing's bothering you.
So yeah, so I was saying before he probably wasn't doing anything, but probably at the moment he's kind of like inspecting the thing that was like biting him earlier, like the little like snake things that were like attacking us. And he's probably
One of the snake corpses.
yeah, and he's not really trying to hide it. Like he kind of has like a very like angry look on his face, and like he's currently just like not stomping, but just like stepping on like the snake that was like that like bit him earlier.
Yeah, that's pretty obviously bothered.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to ask you to make a deception check, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he doesn't care too much.
And the 15 insight will definitely, you pick up on it, Fasciabus, 100%. You're like, yeah, that guy's pissed.
He'd probably, seeing that he's that level of
And then
angry, he'd
the
probably
captain as well.
give him some space.
Go ahead. Oh, I like that. You're like, no, not my problem. And then the captain, who's the only other NPC in your current line of sight. He's guiding the ship, hands on the helm. He has his like big fur cloak on. He looks pretty together. He didn't see it. He'd also, like I said, depending on, you've been on the ship for not that long, from what we talked about, I believe, in the grand scheme of things. And he is, but from what you've seen, he does seem to be a pretty capable man. And you might know a little bit about the fact that he was like in the military, that he's a high rank. You might not know exactly what rank and stuff, but you might get the gist of it. And he's like very, again, sort of stern. He's softer than Orfskier. He like will talk to you. He is, he's a little bit of a hard ass, but he means well. I think that's what he's to realize. But he seems fine too. Like he doesn't seem like he needs to be in any way. You could of course engage with him. He doesn't need it.
Fasciabus is probably the kind of person that he can be charismatic when he needs to be, when he has something to gain from it. But he probably wouldn't willfully engage if everything is good at the moment.
Right. So do you visit the back of the cabin to check on Nettie and her assistant, or do you go below deck to check on Heather?
Yeah, he'll probably go and swing by. He's new. He's trying to build a good rapport, make sure everyone like sees his face. He's present. He doesn't want to get kicked off for being non-productive.
So you go ahead and walk into the cabin's quarters, and you know that behind there's this sort of like alcove, and there is a bedroom. There's like his office space. There's like a big desk and stuff that's bolted to the floor. The room looks a little bothered. There's like some papers and some books and stuff that have fallen off of shelves. You see there's a picture lying on the floor, face down. It looks like maybe it slid off of the desk during some of the maneuvers. But all in all, it's not as bad as it could be. You're like, this is impressive. He must have like screwed in these books must be screwed to the walls or something. And there's a little alcove, and to the right there's this like kind of like half wall, and then his bedroom, which is really just like a nightstand in the desk or in a bed. And then to the left of that, there's a small little, like, it's essentially like, calling it a hallway is a strong word. It's like a quarter of a foyer. And then there's another door, which leads back into Nettie's observatory. The door is closed. And you can give me a perception check now as you walk up and go to open the door.
So 18, so 24.
As you're walking up, you can hear behind the door, like the raised voice of Nettie, who you can't hear exactly what she's saying. It is a little muffled, but she's clearly frustrated or angry or panicked, one of those emotions. and she is just sort of like rattling off. You do see as you pass by the picture frame on the ground. See, you can see that there's like some glass that burst out from falling. Do you pick that up, or do you just go over to the door?
Yeah, he'll
And
pick it up.
You pick it up, and it's a picture of a young boy and a young girl. It looks like it is taken with. There is like flash technology that uses like condensed magical particles to create like a light effect that then sears like a it's effect. You know, they effectively have like old school flash photography.
Sure.
And it's a picture of a young boy and a slightly older girl. They look like they're maybe 6 and 7, and they're kind of in like these like nice little like suits. Like the boy has like these like ruffled sort of has like this ruffled collar, and the girl's like in a little like a little dress. She has like some type of brooch on, and she's kind of got like her hands on his shoulder. And the boy looks like you can't actually see below the waist, but he looks like he's kind of sat to the side with like his hands in his lap, kind of like chest out. She's him in this little like cutesy pose. And you don't know much about you. I don't think that given how long you've been on the crew, you don't know much about him. But you immediately assume that these are probably his children, and that probably sucks that this picture frame fell and broke.
He would try to collect as many of the pieces as he could. Possibly try to look around, find someone to repair it, or at least tell someone about it. Someone he thinks would be capable of mending the frame.
So you collect as much of the glass you can.
Yeah.
Possibly for the time being, set that aside. With that high perception check, it shattered pretty cleanly. It's not like little fine dust particles, you know. So you do manage to collect what you think is all of it. Put it aside on the desk. Get it all together, and you're like, I'm going to note that.
Mm-hmm.
As you make your way over to the door, you can still hear Nettie kind of going off a little bit. Do you barge in, knock?
He'll knock. He'll knock. He's
I'm
got
just
some
like-
manners.
It's like the Han Solo might just like kick in the door and be like, "What's wrong?" You knock, and it like goes quiet, and then like 10 seconds later, the door opens, and Nettie's assistant opens it. You may or may not have seen him before. They spend most of their time in the observatory. Occasionally, he'll come out to get something for Nettie, so you may have seen him running about the deck from time to time. He looks to be like a half elf or maybe a high elf. He has like very platinum hair pulled back in like the super tight bun to the point where like his forehead is like pulled up and his eyebrows are kind of like raised almost. He has this like look of like shock all the time. At first you think maybe he's surprised to see you, but then he just stays that way and you're like, oh, this is just what he looks like. He has his eyes are kind of like steely gray. No hair on his face or anything, very kind of slant features. This like kind of pinprick nose that kind of goes up a little bit at the end. And then the elven ears go back. And in his hand is just like debris. Like you can't really even tell exactly what he just has stuff in his hand. It looks like various mechanical devices and metallic bits and stuff. And as he kind of pushes the door back a little bit more to allow you a little bit more visualization of the room, you can see that there's just like a ton of equipment in here that has kind of been strewn from the chaos. And Nettie now has calmed herself, and he says, how can I help you? Do you need, is everything okay on deck?
Good eye. Yeah, I'm just coming to check in. I heard some frantic noise. Just came in to make sure everything was all right. Everything seems to be going okay up on top deck.
Oh, I'm glad that does anybody need any healing or anything? And Nettie interrupts him and says, my assistant was just a bit overwhelmed. Would you mind helping us put some things back in place?
Yeah, of course I will.
As you come in, you get a better look at Nettie. She appears to possibly be High Elven herself, maybe Half Elven. She has a similar sort of platinum hair. It's cut short into a kind of like fey bob. It has like it kind of goes down the side of her face into like these crisp points. She has bright green eyes. I would say that, like, for all intents and purposes, she's a very beautiful woman, almost to the point of illusion, like this a real person. She wears this purple, very elegant dress you usually see her in. Sometimes she'll wear like a fur coat that covers most of her body, but dressed in this purple gown with some golden inlays. And she's just standing there. Doesn't seem like she doesn't have anything in her arms. She's just watching. And the assistant, he then gives you a 90-second. Thank you. If you could just kind of collect some of the things and maybe just put them somewhere, I can put it all back together. Tom, are you? I am going to murder you. Oh, the smirk. Oh my God, that was hot. She doesn't have anything in her hands. He's the one that's doing most of the work, it seems like. When you say, like, yeah, sure, I'm down, Nettie says, thank you. I was just a catastrophe in here. Just absolutely. I wish somebody would have came and warned me before we just shot into the sky. So I could have, maybe bolted a few things down, had my assistant do his job. But thank you so much. I'm sorry. I don't feel as though I have seen you too much. Are you new?
Yeah, pretty new. I've only been on here for a week or two. You gonna pick me up in Havenfall? I'm just trying to make myself a productive member of the crew.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job of that. Thank you for. If you could just perhaps start over there. And she points to like a corner of the room where there's this sort of globe type thing that looks like maybe it was attached to the ceiling. It has like an arm that comes off of it and it has this mirror-like surface. It's like these rings, these like golden rings that go around, one around the side and then one over the top. And then there's this mirror-like thing in the middle that looks like perhaps it like rotates or something, and it's kind of connected to this crane arm. You can see where the crane arm is kind of fallen apart, and there's some other bits and baubles laying around it in this sort of heap that she points to. The room itself is like kind of dim. It has this almost like blue light. It's like not dark, but not bright. It's not, there doesn't really seem to be like an active light source, but the room has this like blue glow to it. The whole back wall is just like these bookshelves. You can see a ton of the books have fallen off. And in the middle of the room, there is this sort of slant in the floor that kind of goes, it's this gradual decline that ends in this ring that's maybe about 6 feet wide, this 6 foot wide circle that has like a small table on it, and then 2 chairs. And then above it, there is this strange collection of various refractory discs and orbs and stuff that are all hanging by these like metallic arms and stuff in this like kind of crazy arrangement, which is probably disheveled, but you wouldn't know the difference. Then above that, there is a skylight that sits below the helm of the ship. Do you follow her request and go?
Yeah, he'll go and kind of
up the disheveledness,
gather a few things in his arms as much as he can, and try and place it back in some kind of order. And kind of as he's picking stuff up, so what is all this stuff?
It is somewhat difficult to explain, but this crystal that I used to black and bend light stars to help. She turns and she goes to a part of the bookshelf, and there's this priest in there in this bathroom, and she reaches in and she pulls out a staff that has like this golden stem that runs up, and then it has this crescent, and then from the crescent hangs something that looks sort of akin to, hey camera, figure your shit out. That looks sort of akin to the stuff that's hanging above the table. Just these like floating discs and stuff that are all kind of hanging off of the crescent of this golden staff. And she says, I place my staff here. She walks over to the table in the middle and places the staff through a hole in that table. And she points up to the ceiling and says, and this collection of crystalline discs bend the stars, dependent on the season, the wind, the fates. It reaches my staff and I am able to discern bits and pieces of a person's past or future, depending on what the gods want me to see. I think that's the layman's. There's more to it than that, certainly, but
Sure, yeah. I catch your drift. I don't consider myself very particular to the divine, but I understand your position. Obviously, you have shit quite figured out.
Sometimes. When you're done, when we get everything back in order, I would love to give you perhaps a reading. It reads best if you come at midnight.
Midnight. I'm sure I'm still up. Aetra is probably asleep, but that conjurer usually is in bed early, rises early. Not really my style, but yeah, I'll be around.
I hope you come. I look forward to seeing your fates. It's always a pleasure to see someone's for the first time. It's always a surprise. Don't mind the assistant. And you've done enough. Please, just leave that there. He'll take care of the rest, I'm sure.
You sure? I don't mind being an extra set of arms in here. It is quite a bit.
No,
we got a lot going on.
No, it's okay. That's what he gets paid to do. He can do it. You have much more pressing things to attend to, I'm sure. And she kind of comes over and grabs you by like the elbow and then puts like her other arm around you and kind of touches like your upper arm and like very gently, but also kind of sternly, strangely sternly, kind of like walks you out.
Okay. Do I get the idea that she's just particular about her workspace, or is there something in here that she doesn't want me to see?
Give me another insight check.
21, natural 19.
I would say that a little bit of both, perhaps.
Okay. I won't push, but just clocking it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you asking. That's good stuff.
Yep.
I did it intentionally, so I like it when people say, "Hey, I saw you do that." As she gets you to the door, she lets you go, kind of like a person might release a butterfly, and she says, "Thank you so much for taking the time to stop in. And again, please come by. I will give you a reading. We will see what the stars think of you."
All right, it's a date. I'll see you then.
She gives you this kind of little teeny tiny head nod, bow sort of thing. And then as you go out, she closes the door and you see she kind of like very daintily closes it. She turns the knob, shuts it, lets the knob go so that like it perfectly latches. And then the room is silent as you walk back into the captain's quarters.
And then he'd probably just go check up on Header. I'm sure he's probably knocked out, but let's go make sure he's all right.
Avriel, what are you doing?
Sleeping.
Oh, you were actually just depressed. Like we actually need to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just naps. He just naps all day until something pops off.
As you're sleeping. What is that? What role is this? I'm gonna say it's just like a D100. Give me a D100.
$37.
That's not good. It's not uncommon for you to suffer from nightmares. You're goth, so it comes with the territory. As you go back in to nap, take a little sleepy poo. The combat, when that creature vomited that black bile, there was a moment where you looked up and the sky was just dark. And you kept your cool and you did what you had to do in that moment. But as you go and lay down, maybe even subconsciously, you might not even have known this consciously, but that moment was uncomfortable, perhaps, deep down inside. And as you sleep, you have a recollection, a nightmare of being back in Bright Bridge. Can you tell me, this is something that I don't actually remember. This is my own fault for not remembering this. Possibly, anyway. When what happened to you, is that because you meddled, or is that because you were supposed to be there and it just happened?
He blames himself for meddling, but regardless of his meddling, it would have happened.
But he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that.
And you did indeed meddle. You weren't necessarily supposed to be doing what you were doing.
Yep.
You have a memory of sitting down for lunch with your dad and your mom. And you're in your house. Can you tell me a little bit about what your house might have looked like when you were in Brightbridge?
A hot mess. Just imagine hoarders, but in a intelligent way. Like they knew where everything was, but it was a fucking mess. Like if anybody were to come
They
in
both
there,
had functional ADHD.
yeah, it was a hot mess express. But they were smart and they knew where everything was, and they had knickknacks and trinkets from everywhere that they've been.
So you remember you're sitting down to a lunch with your mom and dad. You have it's just a simple. There's some kind of cured meats, some cheese, some bread, stuff that's easy to throw together very quickly in between their work, and you can hear your mom and dad going back about just some etheric sort of scientific mumbo jumbo. They're talking about crystal density and mass creation and how the energy creation is superior to the actual density of the crystal, and it doesn't necessarily make sense, but and they're kind of going back and forth on possibly how this is possible, potential uses and stuff, and they're just sort of nerding out together. And your dad turns to you and he says, Abriel, could you just pass me? I seem to have eaten all my cheese. Could you give me a piece of cheese? I have one last bite of bread and I just could use some cheese.
Oh yeah, of course, Dad. What cheese do you want me to grab?
Just that bit there. You see the white with the yellow spots?
Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay. Oh, I love cheese. Here you go, Papa.
Yeah, me too. He gives you a tap on the head, and he says, why don't you go, me and your mother are going to just finish our lunch, and then I'm going to come outside. And I think maybe we can take some time. Maybe we can play a game or something. I've been really busy.
Are you going to work on that new crystal you got? The one that you found?
We have been, and we're going.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, of course.
I don't want to say anything, but I stayed up while you guys you guys tucked me into bed, and I like sneaked out and like was watching you guys work on it. It was so cool.
You have to be careful. Curious minds.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just I heard a loud noise, and I wanted to see, make sure you guys were okay, but you guys were fine. So yeah, I went back to bed.
You're not in trouble.
Okay.
It's okay. It is very exciting.
Yes.
Go outside.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you find like a nice stone or a ball or something? We can do a toss it up before and your mother get back to it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'll be waiting. All right. Bye.
Oh, I love you. And your mom says, Avril, hey, put on your shoes.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I got a bad blister last time. It hurt a lot. Okay.
I'm tired of hearing about it. Put on your shoes.
Okay. Well, which ones, Ma? I don't know. There's I can't find the ones with the check mark. I can't.
Nothing with open.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Here, and she comes. She grabs a pair of closed-toe shoes that kind of have like a buttons on the back. It's like she gives you some mini holes in them, and she takes these. She gets down. She kind of slides your feet in. She taps you on the head. She like kind of goes up, gives you a kiss on the cheek. It says, "Don't go far. You gotta be out there in a minute. I love you."
I won't. Bye, Mom.
You go outside and you look around. Give me a perception check.
15.
You go outside. Your dad told you to find like a nice round stone or a ball or something. You don't see one in the yard. You know that you did have a ball, but it looks like it perhaps maybe you threw it. You know, you live on this. Bright Bridge isn't the biggest sky islands. From pretty much any point on your island, you can see the clouds. So it's like kind of like a beach town, not quite. So it's not what I'm trying to say is it's not uncommon for a ball to get lost. As you're looking around, you see something kind of glint down in the grass, sort of down your yard. There's like kind of a little bit of a hill that runs down. You know that your house, in my mind, I'm making this up as I go, but your parents, I feel like they have sort of a laboratory, like a basement that goes down maybe 1 or 2 levels, where they do some of their work. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. And your house sort of rolls down. It might even be like one of the higher points in Bright Bridge. And down the bottom of your yard, the grass is a little bit higher, and you can see down below something kind of glint down in the grass, and it kind of catches your eye. And you run down, and you see this perfectly round stone. I mean, it's perfect. It is even as an adult, if I saw this rock, I'd be like, oh, this is like, I have to play with this. You know, as an adult man, this is a perfect rock.
Oh, it's so shiny.
Yeah. Do you pick it up? There we go. There it is, baby.
Wow. Yeah. My dad is gonna love this one. And I go pick it up.
You reach down and pick it up, and when you pick it up, your hand locks up, and then your wrist snaps backwards, and the rock immediately turns, all the gray veneer busts off, and it's this perfectly black stone, and it begins to scream. You feel this energy rush up your arm, up your skin, as your skin begins to blacken. You see your veins pulse and rip out of your arm as your skin turns gray and dusty. it almost looks as if you're like evaporating away as your arm then snaps again in the middle, and you kind of drop to your knees in pain, but you can't let go of the stone as your arm then bends again at the elbow, and your arm is now disjointed in 3 different places. Your wrist snap back, at the middle of your forearm snap back, and then your elbow snap back, and you're almost holding this stone like behind you as you attempt to bring your arm forward, just locked in this convulsing pain. I mean, beyond the point of even having control of your own body, as this blackness continues to seep up into your body. Your father runs outside. You manage to turn your head just enough to see a darkness rising behind your house, this wave that is just sort of pulling towards your home. As your dad runs towards you, he puts out a hand. Your little tiny hand kind of reaches up towards him, and then the blackness envelops him. And as it envelops him, you see him kind of, from the point that it hits him, just gets snapped. He just turns into dust. And the blackness comes close enough to you. You try to scream, you can't scream. You wake up and you're in that silent throw scream in the bed in the ship.
Another nightmare. I hate this world so much. Fine, I'll get up.
Where do you go?
I guess I'll check on Leovold, see if he needs any assistance with anything heavy.
As you look around the room, you do see, I won't make a perception check for you, do see Aethra. He's laid on a top bunk, maybe like 3 beds down. He's rolled opposite. You can see his wings kind of folded in. He kind of like covers himself with his wings like a blanket. He's rolled on his side. And you can hear him kind of whistle, snoring. As you walk past him, you hear a scream.
What was that?
Do you turn? You kind of, it
Yeah.
sounds like it came from Aetra. You kind of curiously turn towards Aetra, and you see now he's shaking violently, and the bed is rattling.
Hey.
Hey, man. Oh, shit. You say, hey, nothing. He just starts shaking harder. The bed is actually bouncing off of the floor.
Is my maul doing anything?
Is it on your back, or do you summon it, or is it like actively
It's
on your back?
Yeah, it's on my back usually. Like I'm always got like one hand on it essentially.
You hear that, and you kind of instinctively reach back for your maul. And when you grab it, it doesn't feel like your maul. It's not. What is your? I feel like your maul's kind of got this like cool, not metallic feeling, almost like more like a stone or like some type of natural material. I mean, I guess metal is a natural material, but you know what I mean. As you reach back and touch it, it's warm, sort of. It's almost got this like, it's almost like a sponginess to it.
Is it because I took all the other souls? What's going on? And
As
I
you-
walk. Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna
you
walk
do it.
over. Yeah, I was gonna walk over and take my maul and see if it reacts as I get close to. What's his name? I forgot his name.
As you walk closer to Aethra, your arms on your maul, and you pull it back. It's an arm. You're holding it at the wrist, and there's this hand. And as you take that in for a second, you can see that on the ring finger is your father's wedding band. Pettigrew, bouncing, suddenly shoots up. He turns to look at you. He's got the bird body, now just inky blackness pouring out of him, your father's face. And he says, "Why?" And then it shoots out at you, and it kind of hits you in the face, and you wake up again.
Oh, that was a twofer, huh?
Gotcha, bitch.
You're really creative, brain. I think I'm gonna take Leovold up on some liquid, whatever he drinks, because I need to sleep.
You see now Heteru is sleeping over there, and perhaps you kind of like cautiously like walk past him out of the space of the sleeping quarters to go find Leovold. When you do manage to get outside, Heteru does not start to have a convulsion. You reach back and check. You're like, okay, Maul's Maul. I think we're awake. You like pinch yourself. You're good. When you go outside, you see Damien, who at this point, I mean, I feel like he's probably isn't still beating up the corpse of this thing, but also he might be. I have no idea. And you see Orskir at the head of the ship, and then the captain up above. And the captain, he looks down and he says, "Avriel, did I hear you? I feel like I heard you scream. Did you scream a moment ago?"
You must have heard my soul scream or something, because I didn't scream.
I'm just going to stop asking about things for you. I saw Darren and Leopold go below deck. Just go check up on him.
That's all you had to say.
No, well, I hope that whatever happened was horrible.
It was a twofer. Go.
I don't know what that means. You don't tell me what things mean, and you just start being rude.
We'll figure it out.
Damien, are you still kicking the corpse?
I feel like it's just by its foot, but he's just like kind of looking out at sea at this point.
The captain goes up. He yells over you, Damien. You satisfied?
As much as I can be. Well, what do you want, Captain?
Can you escort our little princess here down below deck? Check on Leovold and Darren. Make sure he doesn't say any fucking stupid shit.
That's Prince of Darkness to you.
He needs escorted now? Oh, shit. Okay, let's make this quick.
Princess Lady Pants over here. Fucking take him down deck.
Aye, Captain. I'd say that a little mockingly, and I'll just go take it down.
Yeah. Hey, I can pick up on that shit, all right? And I respect you, but at the same time, I'm your boss, so fucking don't do that shit.
Got it. And I'll just bring him down. He's going to listen to him. He'll go bring him down, Avriel.
You go down with Avriel into the below deck. First down to the second level, and then down to the third level, where the engine room is. And you see Darren and Leovold kind of finishing the process of fixing up the engine room. But there's still a leakage. And at this point, you're kind of coming in towards the end of their screen time. And the clouds are like right above the ankles, just getting up towards the shins. Not enough where, again, not necessarily a problem, but it's developing.
Do you need me to like lift things up and put them down?
Oh man.
Oh god, we have to get used to this. Alright, so what the fuck
The
is going on
transition
here?
to child Avriel, by the way.
Oh my god, I was like, what?
Yeah, wow. I was like,
You went from like Butters to
Excuse me, sir.
Invader Zim.
Yeah, it was.
Seeing more people come to the fucking engine room, and he's like, "Why?"
I had to escort the princess here, so
Prince
I
of
think my
Darkness.
work is now done, and I'm gonna try
Princess
to.
on ship? I
Oh,
didn't know we had a princess on ship.
Yes, yes. I
I
think
don't think we do.
the captain wants to give Avery a little pedicure after this. We'll see.
That don't sound like the captain.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think your mouth should be quiet, Damien, because it never tells the truth.
Alright, if you two are gonna start fucking fighting, can you just stick out of the shop? Because we just repaired most of everything, and if you break something, I will shoot you.
So I
That's
can
not
fall asleep.
metaphorically.
So I can
I
go to sleep.
mean, if you want, there's a bottle over there. Just chug it; it'll knock your ass right out because it's engine cleaner.
Is that safe?
You
You
are
may-
an alcoholic. You are a really big. You're beyond an alcoholic. Wow.
Avril will go over there and sniff it. I'm not putting this poison in my body. I'm emo, but not an idiot.
Straight edge.
Wow, you're one of those. Fucking Leopold goes over, grabs a glass that had like some parts in it, like some bolts and straps and stuff, like just pours it out, takes it, pours it in. It's fine, it's just very strong.
Constitution check, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing, sort of. But
Alright. I have been reduced to one screen, so I have to use my damn cell phone for my stats and everything.
oh my god.
Yeah, it's terrible. So just adding my con modifier, right? Not my saving throw?
I'll allow you to be proficient in this. That's fine. Yeah.
Well, I am proficient in con
I
saving
feel like
throws.
you
Drinking.
regularly.
Yeah. Well, okay, so if we're using my
Yeah.
con saving throw,
I'll allow you to be
that's
proficient
a
in drinking
23.
because of the accent. Oh, because of the accent. Oh, what? You said it wasn't good.
No,
How did
I was
this happen?
curious if you wanted my +3 or my +5.
Oh well, you're fine. You just drink it, but it goes down. You're like, and then you just like keep going. You're fine. You're really has any effect.
Do you want my help or not? I can just.
There's a hole in the floor. Like there.
Unless he's gonna lift up the entire ship, which if he does, kudos to you. That's a fucking feat beyond comprehension. Not really. We just have to find where it's leaking from, replace the board, and be good. Hopefully the hole's not too big, or holes, since it's a slow leak. It looks like. Anyone here good with carpentry tools?
Actually, yeah, I am. It's like a hobby of mine.
You fucking have hobbies.
I thought sleeping was your hobby, to be honest.
Well, I do hobbies in my sleep too, so I dream about them. Anyway, what do you want done? I can do it. Just don't make it complicated though.
You're fixing boards. That's
Okay.
about as simple as it can get.
All right. Is it going to take a long time?
Okay, fine. No, we have to find the leak first.
Oh.
So let's not knock into anything and just try to find where there's some holes
Okay.
in the ship.
As you guys,
Or whatever you
talk,
want, whatever.
One of you take responsibility for this. Roll a D100. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, wow.
61.
As you guys are talking, one of the holes you hear like a little bit of a groan
Ugh.
in the ship, and there's a little bit of a noise, and you see that from the side, just where the ship kind of bends inward, one of the holes splits a little bit more, and cloud just kind of starts like pouring in. Not good.
That looks terrible. We should probably fix that.
You fucking think? Let's just. All right, get the boards. They're just leaning on the fucking wall over there, and get some pitch, and we'll just patch it up right now. That's all we can do because we can't really fucking fix it.
You got it.
Avriel, and anybody else. You can give me an athletics. You go over, you
Ooh.
grab
23.
Oh shit. Okay. You go over. The force of the clouds coming in is pretty strong. You kind of have to push the board. You go to put it on, and you feel a little give back, and then you slam it on. You put a hand in the middle, and then start kind of fumbling with the carpenter's tools. Get a couple nails. Manage to kind of push it. Take the nail, put your finger on the top, kind of jam it in a little bit in the board so it sticks, and then like one clean swing hammer, whop, sink it, let go of the board. It kind of gives a little bit. Push back down on it, reach back, grab another nail, sink it with your thumb, grab the hammer, whop, smack it in, let go, and then you hit it 2 more times on the side. And there's still a little bit of pour coming in, but it's only these like little holes kind of on the edge of the board. That's still, there's a little bit of pour in this particular hole. Now, if the rest of you guys who are down here could give me perception and or investigation checks.
I rolled athletics from early. Is that not needed? Do I got to do perception first?
Keep it. Keep the athletics, but do give me that perception.
I got 24 for if we're doing investigation.
Investigation, it could be either one.
I too got 24, but mine's for perception.
You guys are like just like rolling good as heck.
Maybe-
Everybody's like, have we rolled below 20 yet? What the hell's going on?
Maybe.
What'd you get, Damien?
15.
Each one of you, you see that there's numerous like little holes, and you can't actually see the hole at this point, but as you're going through, you can feel one bigger hole that's sort of in the middle of the ship, where you can actually, when you kind of feel it, you can look up and you can see that there's a hole in the ceiling from the black that came down. It's the main pudding puddle that you followed down here at Darren, and it's going through the floor and it's leaking. You can actually feel it has a little bit of force too. And Damien, what was your athletics check from earlier?
25.
So Darren, you point out that big hole, and Damien grabs a board. He runs over, kind of jams it over top of that hole, and then whoever wants to, it could be Damien, but it sounds like everyone's got the carpentry tools. So Everett, do you want to give me a check with those?
What's the check?
For this, I'm going to say, because you're not holding the board down, I'm going to say that this one is going to be sleight of hand. You can add the tool proficiency if you're not proficient with sleight of hand.
I think
Matt
has
20.
guidance too. Oh, never mind.
Nat 20.
You walk over, you have the tool thing with you, you kind of set it down. Damien's pushing down on the board. You can't actually see the board beneath the clouds, but you take out the hammer, you kind of flip it, catch it, take out a nail, kind of just bend down, pop it in, pop, 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 real quick. And Damien, let's go. And you can see that, you can feel rather that the board's in place, and it's mostly steel to pull, still a little bit of leakage. It would require some sort of, there needs to be something a little bit finer than a board. Darren, perhaps mending could kind of give it the little bit of seal that it needs to not be taking on anymore. Same thing with the other big hole. And then between the three of you guys, you take about 5 or 10 more minutes, and you manage to patch through the tiny holes, either with mending or with just a little patch job of the board. They're able to be sealed. So Darren, you go through and mend the bigger holes. At that point now, the cloud here is probably up to like below the midpoint of your shin. It's a little bit too much. Level, give me a. I could maybe survival, maybe history. I think either one of those could be applicable.
All right, so I will do history since that's just slightly better. Let's say 19.
You think it's a little too much, and you think that you might need to do something to get it out. You don't know, being down here, actually on a history 19, you kind of have like a general sense of where you were and where you are. You don't know of any 19. I'm going to say you're not aware of like any like halfway point, like you're not aware of anywhere nearby from where you currently are to stop. But you do feel like, it might be a good idea to try to, if we see a place to stop, it might be a good idea to stop and try to get this out of here.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you, could he do so he is proficient with alchemist supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Could he try to find a quick reaction to this black ooze to nullify the acidic aspect of it?
The holes that the big hole that we just passed, like the last big hole, that ooze has already sunk through the ship and it's gone. I would allow you to maybe, as like in retrospect, have gone like when you were walking, maybe you saw like a smaller puddle of it that didn't have the volume to be as damaging, that you might have been able to kind of get into a vial to potentially try to do something like that on. I would say that would probably have to have happened. It'll have to happen. It would have changed the timeline of events to experiment on it, to see if you can nullify the acidity of it. What was your aim to see if you could like
just in case this happens again, he can have
some sort of like
countermeasure for it.
Okay, yeah.
Like
you can give me that alchemy, the tools check, Arcana, and this will be something that you do probably like just at some point during the day.
Yeah,
outside of these events here.
His main focus was the engine, but if he can get a sample to test later on, that's perfect.
Yeah, I would say that you could have done that for sure.
For Arcana, that's a 20.
Jeez Louise. You are able to break events at some point during the day, or maybe at like later on in the night. You are able to find between some of your various like solutions and concoctions. What's his name here? Again, I'm going to refer to him so that I can start. Leonard. His name's Leonard. The kobold. You do know that he has like, there is a by his like bed area in the area where the bunks are where everybody sleeps. He does have like this little like a little shop that's sort of set up like just in the middle of the room, kind of. He has like this like little. It's not in a private space. It's like right in the middle of where everybody sleeps. He does have this like little alchemist workshop that he's kind of made, and he does have like various solutions of like neutralizing reagents and stuff like that, and herbs and stuff that can be broken down to try to fiddle. And you are able to find from one of his solutions a concoction that is able to immediately eliminate the acidic qualities of this particular liquid. Neutralize. And I'll say that happens like later on today, perhaps at some point, like on a long rest or something, or short rest. You guys managed to fix it up, but you're like, oh man, we took on a little bit too much of the blue. We might need to take a rest stop. Bashabas, you come out. You see that at this point, the deck is cleared the only person up top, well, Orskier's up there, still kind of standing stoically at the edge of the ship, and the captain is still up top on the helm. And besides that, everybody else is missing from the immediate area of the deck.
Well, where the hell did everyone go?
Captain comes over to the bow of the banister as he hears you, and he kind of leans over and says, I ordered everybody go below deck. I don't know what the hell. I guess you're familiar with what Nettie and her Boy Scout are doing. And then your boy, Hedaru.
Mm-hmm.
Hedaru? Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude.
No, you got it.
Hedaru, I think he's below deck somewhere, sleeping, perhaps. And everybody else, I ordered them to go down to the engine. Now, whether or not they're down there, I don't know.
How long have they been gone?
But they better be. Not much longer than you. Besides, Darren, Leopold, they went right down there. Maybe 20 minutes or so.
It's a long time. I better go check things out.
Either means that there's something real bad going on down. Yeah, it either means there's something real bad going on down there. Or they're having a powwow. I don't like either one of those things.
I definitely prefer the latter.
If they're powwowing, can you go break that shit up?
Of course, yes. Scout's honor.
Yeah, go break that shit up. You're a. I didn't like that. Okay.
Sure, he'll head down.
So you eventually come down right at the end. Everybody has kind of situated. You can see that there's like a ton of cloud in there. It's like kind of filled up, but everybody has just sort of finished their individual tasks, and they're just now kind of like going over. Perhaps Leopold, in particular, is maybe talking about like the repercussions of the situation.
Well,
As you walk
this looks like a shit show. What the hell happened in here?
Don't get me started. Why are you down here?
Well,
Is
the captain-
everyone just going to come to the engine room now?
It's a new party room.
It
Get used to it.
certainly is fucking not.
That's what the captain
You've got
thinks it is.
alcohol.
That's because I make it myself.
Yeah, that checks out.
I don't mind the alcohol. I'm a little concerned about the clouds in here, though.
It's fixed, kinda. I mean, you might want to go tell Cotton that we should probably find a port and fucking sit down in it.
Yikes. Alright, I guess these bastards did a little more wear and tear than I thought they did. I could have
Well,
swore
it
half of
didn't-
them went in the fucking air. I didn't even know they were hitting the damn deck.
Well, it seems that they do more damage when they're dead than they did alive.
Oh, hell. Alright, so that's my job. I'm going to go tell the captain then. Is that it?
Fucking all of you can go tell him for all I care.
You're the one trying to get on his good side, so I don't think Avriel's gonna really want to do it.
No, he's either gonna go fucking whittle something or go to sleep.
And I was already
Or
giving
sleep and dream of whittling something.
the hard job of escorting him, so I think I'm done for the day.
I'll go up with you to tell the captain. I want to check on Nettie anyway.
She seemed a little preoccupied, but yeah, sure.
Weevil just goes, "It's fucking walking. How hard can an escort be?"
When it's Avriel and you have to hear his little witty one-liners, it's pretty brutal.
I mean, I can't appreciate the one-liners, but yeah, I mean,
Really? They make me feel sad.
come on, we all need a little bit of cheer in our lives. He might not be a rainbows and sunshine, but he can
Yeah,
swing
we'll
that
just-
damn maul.
Weevil just grabs the bottle like, "This might cheer you up a little bit."
Or kill you.
I'm fucking alive. None of you have good taste, I swear.
I mean, Damien would drink it.
Can I cast Purify food and drink on it?
Oh, that would be so incredibly rude. Oh man.
My question is this:
Would
how do you
that work?
purify a solution?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm looking it up right now. Like, I'm actually.
Does it
curious,
just
like,
turn it
would
to
that-
fucking water?
You probably turn it to a neutral, yeah.
Purify it and render it free of poison and disease. So it's essentially poison.
Did you just turn my whiskey into O'Doul's?
I think, like, technically, yeah.
I mean,
I think
it could be flavor. It doesn't have to actually like work. You know.
I don't think. I think it would just kind of. It would probably. Well, it would probably lose a lot of the bite. It would, like the actual. I think that's what would happen. It would just become kind of this like neutral solvent, sort of like viscous nothing.
It might taste worse.
It probably would. It probably would. It would be like drinking like grease, probably or something.
Yeah, I'll take it and I'll like cast Purify food and drink on it, but like subconsciously I didn't mean to do it,
Oh no!
and I'll take a sip.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
And then he just starts vomiting because I've rolled a 6.
I was gonna. Oh yeah. Okay, well you did it. You did the honors for me. You vomit. Yeah.
Oh my
It
god!
kinda coats
Oh,
your
that
mouth.
was a
It like coats your
fucking
mouth.
waste.
It coats your throat. It's like blobby, and before it even gets like halfway down, it goes back up, and now it's just like in the side. It's inside. It's like stuck in there. You can't get rid of it. It's just.
All right.
Oh,
I'm not. Everybody out of my
Come here.
fucking engine room, please, and thank
coming
you.
out of both ends.
Yeah, I think I might go now, actually. Leaving sounds like a great idea. I'm going to see the
Yeah.
captain.
Oh!
I think I like the one-liners better. You're right.
Everybody awkwardly leaves.
Death comes for me.
Everyone
Oh!
is in the kitchen room just pooping and throwing up.
Leovold just
Fetal
tapping his
position.
hand on his pistol, just. Fucking not yet.
Everyone just like lays down in the clouds and like tries to get he just disappear into the light. Oh, I can't tell if your character's a meme or not. Evil stays. Darren, Damien, Bashabas, you guys are like, okay, we're done. We're clocking out. Damien, what do you do when you go back to the deck? The captain is up there. Overorski is up there. Do you deliver the message? Do all three of you go deliver the message to the captain that we need to try to find a place to stop?
So I don't probably care as much about the captain. Who's probably like the oldest and most experienced? Would that be like Orfskir?
I think you would have no idea how old Orfskir is. It's hard to tell. You know, he's not. Is he a humanoid? Yes, but he doesn't have humanoid features, so it might be kind of hard to tell how old he is. But from the standpoint of like, he might appear, depending on your character's like what you respect in a person, he might appear to be the most respectable person to Damien. I could see that.
Would he like? I'm more looking for like maybe like some like knowledge or like kind of someone who's seen a lot of things on the sea. Like because I've been kind of going like from like ship to ship trying to find like knowledge like on like a certain like person. And I was wondering like if maybe like if there'd be like anyone on the ship probably that might have any knowledge on it.
I mean,
If
immediately,
not, I could wait a little bit, but
the easiest person that fits that description, unfortunately, perhaps it seems like maybe it's unfortunate, is probably the captain. I feel like you how long did we agree that you've been on the ship?
it hasn't been long. I would say like the last time they've picked up like new members, that's probably when Bashabas also probably joined. But whenever they've kind of like went around and had like a new like pickup of members, that's kind of when I joined.
So you've only been there for Bashful, so I'm sorry. I would have to go check your notes. It has not been long.
No, like a week or two at most.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like a couple weeks. Like your guys are pretty new to the crew. So you don't know like a ton about really anybody that's on the ship, but you would know enough. You would know that the captain has he's a member of the Blue Defense Division, and you know that he had a pretty high military rank. He is like an older gentleman. I would say that given your newness, you don't know exactly how old. You would guess somewhere between 50 and 60. So you'd probably assume that he would be the most experienced blue sailor of the people on board.
Got it. I mean, I guess I'll just go with the rest of the crew with them delivering the message then.
Bashabas and Adarin are both. Well, I feel like Adarin would definitely be like, great captain, we have to dock. So Bashabas probably as well. But either one of you can take the lead on that if you'd like to.
Like, Captain, we're probably gonna have to stop at some point soon. We took on some of the blue. Maybe too much of it.
Oh. Are you shitting me?
No. I wouldn't joke about that. Those things are like acidic. They almost
No,
kill
you don't
me.
have much of a sense of humor.
I have a sense of humor. Nobody else gets my sense of humor.
No, you are right. It's everybody else's fault. I'll start thinking about where we can dock up. Thank you for telling me, Darren. I appreciate it. Can you go ask Nettie to do some mumbo jumbo
Yeah.
and tell her we need to port, and then don't call it mumbo jumbo. That'll just piss her off.
I wasn't going to. Yes, I'll go tell her. We need to port. We need to get somewhere. I think Darren will start heading towards.
Thanks. Yeah. Hey, Bashabas.
Hey, I bet you're wishing it was a party now, weren't you?
Yeah, powwow would be good. What would you say your line of expertise is as far as deckhandry?
I mean, kind of.
You a mast kind of guy? You like ropes?
I've always been good with ropes and riggings. My last crew, I was kind of on the weapons, but it was a little intense for me. I kind of like being up high, getting a good view.
Can you do me a favor and get I don't know where the spyglass ended up, but can you attend to Crow's Nest?
Yeah, sure thing, Captain.
Thank you.
Where the fuck would a spyglass?
Give me you could potentially have one on your person. You also might not. That would be completely wholly up to how you whether or not you took.
I have navigator's
I do think you probably
tools.
could have ended up
I don't
with one
know
of those in the beginning, but maybe not.
if that falls under that.
I think it would.
Okay.
I would. I don't know that literally it does because spyglass is its own separate item.
Sure.
But because considering we're doing a seafaring venture, I'll say that a spyglass is included in there.
Sure.
You go up the crow's nest, Darren. You enter into the captain's quarters. As you enter in, can you give me a perception check? And also, Bashabas, if you could give me a perception check, and then just kind of hold it.
Did you say Damien? It cut out for a sec.
I like that.
I got it.
It depends what you're doing, Damien. You can feel. Go ahead,
No, go ahead.
Darren.
No, I was just gonna say I got a 9. I'm gonna add guidance to it for 11.
So I think Damien's with them too.
You enter into the
My bad.
with Bashabas and Darren.
Yeah, because he said that he was gonna
So
go
you're
up
good.
with the captain.
You could go. Yes, you could either. I know that you said you might want to talk to the captain, which you could do. You could also crow's nest it with Bashabas, or you could accompany Darren into Nettie's quarters. That's totally up to you.
I'll
Or you
probably
do something.
relax. Yeah, I'll probably relax with Bashabas. I think that, especially now that I'm gonna try to get information from him a little bit, I'm probably like on Bashabas' side a little bit, trying to get on his good side. So I'm probably just gonna do the stuff he's done. But if I'm rolling perception too, I rolled a 21.
Nice, good shit. Hold that, and consider maybe what Damien might ask Bashabas right after I'm finished with it, Darren. Darren, you enter into the captain's quarters. It's a bit disheveled. You don't see anything too out of place. On the other side of his quarters, past the desk, there is the small, sort of awkwardly built foyer area, and you see Nettie's door. On the front of the door, there is like this crescent moon, and then like sitting inside of the crescent of the moon, there are these like stars sort of sit where, in the crescent of the moon, there are these like little stars that kind of these like zigging sort of like light lines designed on the door. Do you just walk right? Your character, it's up to you, because you kind of have a little bit of a familiarity with Nettie. How you approach her.
I think she'd probably do the like knock, but kind of like already be opening the door, like as you're knocking, of kind of just giving them like a little bit of warning, and like kind of start talking like, "It's me, Darren. I'm coming in."
You go ahead, announce yourself, knock, and open at the same time. As you come in, you see that the assistant is in the process of now like rigging back up the room, and Nettie is sat at the desk, kind of turned, or the table rather, it's in the center of the room, and she's turned away from the desk watching him, and she is sort of like got her hand up pointing at things, probably in the middle of directing him as you come in, and she turns her and says, Darren, thank you for coming by. How can I? Everything's fine here. In fact, the new man, Aschiabus, I think he might have said his name was, or something like that. He came by and checked up on us, so we're actually all good here. Can I do anything for you? We're in the process of trying to get everything back up after the event.
Yeah, could I help with anything? We need to find somewhere to dock soon. We took on some damage in the ship and need to take care of it.
Is it disastrous, or can it's going to take my assistant here a bit of time to get everything back in order for me to find guidance?
I mean, it doesn't seem great. I don't know. We took on some of the blue. Leopold seemed, I mean, stressed. He kind of always seems stressed. I don't know, or drunk, or one of them. Yeah, I can't tell the difference, honestly.
There's there should be a marked difference between drunk and stressed. Usually they're sort of opposites of each other. But he's a tough one. He's a tough one to read. Would you mind helping?
Yeah, absolutely, I'll help.
If you could just, we've got most of it finished, but this collection here, isn't quite right. The way it's bending is just sort of obscuring my vision. I think it needs to be adjusted, and we have been adjusting, and we're just not quite. We're not quite getting it, are we? And this is no, we're not. We're not. Just yes, we're not. Could you perhaps offer a hand? I think this, and she points to one of the crystals, needs to be kind of raised, and he is just. I just don't think the inspiration is coming. Perhaps you can see what I see.
I can try.
Give me an Arcana check.
Okay. Oh, that is a dirty 20.
Oh, nice. You come over and you can see where the light is coming in from the sunroof, and it's hitting one of the refractory crystals, and it's bending to the side of the room, and then it kind of bounces around towards the middle, and they kind of go back and forth amongst each other. And you can see where it's coming over here, and it is kind of arcing down, catching this one that she's talking about, and it's going towards her staff. And the way it's hitting, it's like the light from above is sort of bending and arcing the light, and it's kind of hitting her staff on an angle. And maybe to your surprise, or maybe not, you kind of do see what she's talking about. And you come up, and the assistant allows you to take. He has this kind of pole type tool that has this like grasping claw at the top, and then this like adjustable gear at the bottom that shifts the height of the staff-like tool that he has. As you kind of say, like, I think maybe I see what she's talking about. He gives you that tool, and you go ahead and crank it up to the height where you need to reach the arm of the refractory crystal, and you start to kind of crank it downwards a little bit. You bring the crystal down, and you stop, and then Nettie kind of looks and says, "Oh, that's just right. Stop. That's good. What? Honestly, what are you doing?" And this says, "I'm sorry. It was a simple fix. Do you see that? This is why you are here and you're not in the academy. Truly, go get the Astronaut Common Volume 3 and read Chapter 27 again, please." He says, "Yes, right away." And he walks over to the bookshelf and he kind of starts scouring. She says, "Thank you so much, Darren. That was, we would have been fiddling with that for hours at this rate. Unbelievable. I'll begin to consult with the light and see what my staff says. And I'll let you know shortly if I can find us a destination."
All right, do you guys need anything else? You guys okay? Did you guys get hurt at all?
Yes. Oh, no, we're fine. Just a little rattled. Give me an insight check.
What is my... Yeah, that is... That's an 8.
Oh, they do seem fine. You see the assistant just kind of slowly walk across the room over the bookshelf, start scouring for the Astronomicon 27 to go through volume 3 to go through chapter 27. And he's walking a little slow, but you don't see, he seems to be okay, and she seems fine.
Yep. It's gonna be like, all right, business as usual then.
She says, just a bit of privacy while I consult the light, and then I will, if you don't mind, maybe just waiting outside the door. As soon as I'm finished, I'll tell you what I see.
Yeah, I'll be right outside.
You wait outside for like 10 minutes or so before the door eventually opens again, and Nettie kind of pokes her head out, not like fully entering into the captain's quarters, kind of keeping herself in the blue light of her observatory. She says, "Darren, tell the captain 52, 27, 49, 32.
52, 27, 49. What was the last one?
32.
32. Okay. I will go tell him right now.
He'll know what it means if we find ourselves there. The light told me there's something with balloons, but positive.
Oh, like a party?
Leave that bit.
Oh,
No. Larger. Don't leave the balloon. Leave the balloons out of the description. Just tell them the numbers.
okay. All right, I will go do that.
Thank you. She daintily shuts the door. Damien, you and Bashavis are up top. Bashavis, you pull out that spyglass. You start doing your crow's nest duties. What was your perception check?
Mine was a cool 22.
Damien's was 21.
22 and 21, right, Damien?
Yeah.
Now, it's not uncommon for the blue to act chaotically. You're in the west blue right now, southeast of Fa'akuli, which are these karsts that rise up out of the clouds of like stupendous size. Varying. Some of them are smaller than others. Some of them are as big as like a continent. Others are like just big enough to house like a village or something. All of them tend to have like these various tunnels that kind of run through them and stuff. But that's not super important at the moment. But in this region of the blue, it's uncommon for there to be land rises where suddenly a sky island will just kind of float to the top of the blue, or a previously undiscovered karst that's like just sort of at the tip top of the clouds breaches just enough to be a danger. And that's mostly what you're looking for when you're in the crow's nest, when you're in the west blue. In the south blue, you're looking for ice rises. In the east and north blue, you're more so looking for like chaotic currents or other like just strange sort of magical anomalies that sometimes occur in those seas. Here, you're looking mostly for land rises and the tips of karsts that are growing up out of the ocean, or the blue rather. As you're looking, you do manage, luckily, very good for us, nothing's going to get any worse. Between the two of you, you do manage to kind of yell down to the captain a few times, turn this way. I can see like the tip top of the karst that's poking up out of the blue there. Again, a little bit later, another one. But you do have a lot of time in between those interactions, where you just be kind of sitting there watching, potentially in silence or in conversation, which is up to you personally.
I would ask him, Bastabis, I heard that you just joined this crew. Have you been on other crews before this?
Been on a few, say the least.
Me too. I've been on a few as well, but what's the reason for you jumping around crew to crew?
I mean, a job's a job. Things I want aren't exactly free or cheap, so I have a skill set that I try to make useful. I feel like this is probably the perfect place to do it. What about you?
I don't really have a goal like that too much in mind. I'm kind of just looking for a specific person, but this type of job normally, like you said, gives good money, and normally with this type of work, a lot of information towards this type of person normally comes up too. But I mean, with you going around the seas, have you traveled a lot, or are you more just like staying around the area?
That's an understatement, mate. I've been on ships as long as I can remember. Actually, me and my pa, we used to go wherever the wind would take us.
Well, that sounds nice, man. I've always wanted to travel more for fun, but I feel like that never really ended up happening. But
Man, I fucking wish it was for fun. It was more for survival. It was just me and Pa. He just kind of had to do what he had to do to make ends meet, and he just, I mean, he either got good or he got left at the port. So he got good real quick.
well, it seems like both of us are gonna have to pick up some slack around here.
I mean, speak for yourself. I feel like I'm doing a decent job around here so far. Might be new,
No.
a little green.
That's not what I mean. I mean, like, we just got here. The captain doesn't really know us yet. We don't really have a role yet on the crew.
Relax, I'm just busting your balls. I knew exactly what you meant. I agree. I mean, we're going to make a good impression. We do not want to get left behind.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You said you're looking for a person. The Blue is not quite the easiest place to find people. Quite impossible, actually.
Well, yeah, I don't really know a lot of people around this area, so I've kind of just been going from ship to ship trying to figure out what I can find. But I mean, you've been around. There is one question I did want to ask you. Have you ever heard of the Kaisei or the Kaisei clan? It's not really from around this area, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. But
I really doubt I have I?
Do you want to give me a history check to see?
It's only a 13.
I'm going to say that your adventures. Let me just check a little bit of my notes here real quick to think about this. I think that your adventures pertained a little bit more to you met Heteru, which was in Fa Al Kuli, or I guess in actually Havenfall. Did you meet? This is maybe a little bit more personal. I don't know if we ever actually mentioned where you met Heteru. Did you meet him in Havenfall?
I do believe I met him at or maybe kind of like on the way to that port. The circumstances that led up to me having to get there. That's where I would have met him.
So in between Havenfall and wherever you met him.
Yes.
Then you probably would have met him in the process of him fleeing Fa Al Kuli.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you would have been in the West Sea, or the West Blue, rather. And then, given the description of what your past events, you were in the South Sea, the South Blue. So I feel like your character has that's sort of been like your range.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be kind of familiar with the West and South Blue, maybe a little tiny bit with the North a smidge, but it sounds like to me West and South has more so been your playground.
Sure.
And very little with the East, and somewhat also true to the North as well. Not much there either. You know enough about the world to know just from like the sound of the name Kaisei rather, that it sounds like it's probably from Omioji, and that it sounds like maybe a family name or something like that. He said it's a clan, so maybe that's some kind of political player in Onmyoji. But outside of the fact that like you're able to just kind of put two and two together on a very basic level, you don't.
I can't say I particularly know quite what you're talking about. I mean, I'm assuming they're from the east, probably.
Yeah, they're pretty far from here too, so I'm not too surprised. I'm gonna be trying to ask the captain some questions anyway, so don't worry about it too much.
I make sure you're up before the sun rises, and he just might answer if he.
Maybe, but I normally don't like asking for favors without having some sort of leverage first. So I might want to show my goodwill and help out a little bit more around here first before I ask him. What's that?
Well, if you're looking for a way to establish some goodwill, on my way down to see Nuts and Bolts. No, I'm just kidding. Nettie and her assistant down there. There was a picture frame. Kind of looked like some children in there. It seemed like a keepsake. The frame must have got knocked off. Clean break, but it seemed to have some sentimental value. Perhaps some goodwill might be established for repairing a keepsake. I don't know if you're good with repairing furniture like that or anything, furnishings, but
I'm normally only good for breaking things, so I don't really think that's on a. I mean, we did see Avriel with a little bit of his carpentry tools, but I mean, knowing him,
You
he's
you
asleep.
you did see, you were in the room when Darren used mending too. I would say you'd be able to possibly put two and two together.
perhaps you could find someone who is a little less prone to break things. Might earn you a goodwill piece or two.
Do you have anyone in mind?
I mean, it was a pretty clean break. I don't think I have the finesse to repair something like that. At least not on the blue. Maybe at a port, but perhaps somebody here. I think there's a few mages. Darren was throwing some spells around out there just a little bit ago. I don't know. Ask around discreetly. You don't want the captain to catch wind.
Yeah, over my dead body, man. I don't know about you, but the last person I'm trying to have any favors for is any mages.
Not a fan.
It's not really the people. It's just magic has a way of just messing with people's minds and giving people power and giving people greed and everything. It's never been something I've really have tried to mess with. It's not something to take lightly.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I kind of understand where you're coming from. There's different types of magic. They don't all come from the same place, but I'm not particularly a fan of the divine sorts.
It's not really where it comes from as much. It's just people when they're given power. It normally ends up in negative ways, from what I've seen. And normally everything that comes, like every gift that comes, there's normally negative consequences that come with it. So I normally just don't like supernatural and like divine intervention sort of things. It normally doesn't come without a price.
Sure, I understand that. Well, if you're not looking to get it repaired quickly and prefer the old-fashioned way, perhaps somebody with nimble fingers. Yeah, my boy Hetero, he's asleep right now, but he's pretty nifty, dexterous. He's got talons, perhaps that can be used to grab things that thicker fingers can't. I don't know, mate. It's kind of up to you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask him once he wakes up. I mean, if you want to talk to Darren at all, be my guest. I just personally just don't want to like ask any favors or do anything like that personally.
Sure, I guess I could. I think I owe her a story, actually. So we'll see what I can do for you, and I'll keep an eye out for this clan.
I appreciate it. Also, just make sure it's a quiet, like search.
Oh yeah,
I don't
discreet,
want too
mate.
much word going out there and everything. Like you said, they're a political group, and yeah, I was just wondering.
I'll get you.
Okay, I'll watch over your job up here at the post. You can talk to Darren if you want. I'll make sure to let you know if there's any trouble.
All right. I guess he'll start to make his way down. Captain, Damien's gonna watch
Conveniently,
the
as you're
nest
coming
real
down,
quick.
If you guys have been doing a bang up job, that's fine with me. You good up there as you're kind of climbing down?
Yeah, we're all right. Just gonna hit the pisser real quick.
Well, all right. You ain't got to tell me. I trust you relatively to take pisses.
I mean, you asked, kinda, in a roundabout way.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I tend to. I really just need to stop. I'll just order you all around and stop asking about what you're doing.
Hey, it's all right. Have you seen a
As
Darren?
you were coming down Darren comes out. Just as you say that, Darren pops out from behind the door.
Captain, Nettie says,
And Darren, you come out like right as he says, "Have you seen?"
I'm here. Hold on, I gotta remember these numbers first.
Yeah,
Captain,
you are. What'd she?
Nettie says 52, 27, 49, 32.
Oh, shit. All right,
Is that not good?
that's fine. Just no, it's fine. And he turns the wheel a little bit, and the ship kind of goes in a southerly. You're kind of heading at this point southeast, downwards towards Grand Rise, sort of central. He turns a little bit steep. You kind of go a little bit more southwards, more of a almost a straight south instead of southeast. No, it's fine. I'm just pretty sure I know where that is, and I don't feel like going there. But if that's what's around, that's what we're doing.
That's what she said.
All right. Well, we what was those numbers again? Can you say it one more time?
52, 27, 49, 32.
Got it. All right. Yeah. You should be there in probably about. We're not taking on any more blue or nothing.
We sealed it as well as we could. There might be a small, slow leak, but it's as good as I think it's gonna get right now.
All right. Well, why don't you guys go relieve everybody? Tell them we can take go get fucking lunch or whatever, and we'll be at a port in about an hour.
Okay.
Not, and then he looks up at the crow and says, "Not you though. Somebody's got to stay up there and make sure we don't hit no fucking rocks or other bullshit."
He's just putting a thumbs up. He's not going to say anything.
And then, Bastardus, you were looking for me?
Hi, yeah. It's all right. We can walk and talk. He'll start to kind of
Okay.
like set the pace down into the lower deck, down towards the same path he traveled to go towards Nettie. Hi, I was going to check in with Nettie and her assistant earlier, and I noticed something I think, or at least Damien told me he might be able to help out with. He'll kind of lead her to the quarters and to the picture frame. I mean, it just seems so sentimental. I'd hate for it to be ruined permanently. Is this something you think he could fix up?
Oh yeah. I think I definitely could, and she'll try to piece the glass together and cast mending.
You're able to he fashioned this without telling anyone. You were able to preserve enough of the pieces of glass where you're pretty much able to just kind of puzzle piece it back together, and then cast mending. The break in the actual frame itself, it's sort of like a soft metal or something. So it had just like you said, this really clean break, and then the glass itself all back together. And with mending, able to rebind that frame and kind of reseal that little pane of glass. It's sort of like a 2 by little tiny picture frame, and it looks good as new.
Hey, great work.
Yeah. We'll set it up. Yeah, it would be unfortunate if that was broken. And
You reckon this is his children?
oh yeah, yes, it's his children.
Cute kids.
Yeah, they're. I don't know if Darren would know this. Are they that age now?
I messaged you about them, right?
Yeah. It seemed like they were older.
I don't know that you would know their specific age, but the information that I told you I'm not gonna because I don't know, you're like no keepy, so which is I love it. Thank you so much. You would be privy to all that information that I told you. I don't think that I did include their ages. I just kind of included like kind of what's going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have like a loose idea of their age just based on what you know of them from the captain.
Yeah.
If you need me to reiterate some of the information, I will.
No,
But you would be with.
Yeah. Remember kind of like the important bits. Like, yeah. Yeah, they're I think a little bit older now, but yeah.
I don't know much about the captain or the crew of the ship, really. I mean, she's a beaut, but gosh dang, I mean, we've almost died more times here than I think I've died collectively on all the ships I've ever been in my life.
Really?
And I was on a ship that was completely wrecked. I mean, rammed through, and I'd say this kind of takes the cake. This is some dangerous work.
Oh, Darren, I'm sorry. I just rechecked our notes, our personal conversation. Edward is you don't know why they're not talking, but you do know that he has joined the Blue Defense Division, and it seems to be some type of pain point. I thought that I included that in what we said. And you also know that Valera got married pretty recently. And it seems to you, if I were to, I will probably send you a message of this just for my own sake. But it seems to you like something about that situation. He never mentions who the husband is, or it seems like he maybe doesn't approve. And that was the information I was referring to when I said you would have an idea of their age, but I actually never sent you that. I thought I had. My apologies.
It's okay. I mean, I figured, at least with the little bit that I had, that they seemed older. But... Alright. Like, this is the ship that you almost died the most on? Man, this is the only ship I've ever been on, and I just thought this was normal.
I mean, I would say there's hardly anything normal about sailing the Blue, but this has been a particularly intense journey.
Bashiabas, I will say this. Most ships, you've never been on a ship that does this particular job of like identifying, procuring, shipping Aether.
Yeah. I mean, what is this Aether that we're hauling? Why does everyone seem to want it?
Oh, I mean, it's what helps us, like, go. It's what helps us fly, and it powers. I feel like she would have a better understanding of it than I would.
It does the boom boom. What do you mean?
It's like our fuel.
Makes sense.
This is actually a sort of, I actually appreciate that I don't know that you did this on purpose. If you did, thank you. I don't know that you have the information to have done this on purpose. But I will say this, Bashiabas, the way that society is like structured, everybody's like aware of Aether from like an idea perspective. Like they know that it is a thing and that like it exists or whatever. Like they know that like sometimes they see a flying ship and like, oh, look at that, that's awesome. Most people don't have that. Most people are just on fucking boats that float on clouds with masts and they hope for the best. And they live in towns that don't have any Aether tech. And you really only see it if you are, this probably actually is the first time that you yourself would have seen Aether, at least in like a non-raw form. And certainly in a way that is like techno-magical. This would be your first real experience with that. And the only time you really see it in like on a societal level is if you live on the top floor of Grand Rise, which very few people actually do. So I do appreciate you bringing that up because actually, even though it is sort of like this like Magitech steam punk level society. That's actually very rare. It's actually like, that's kind of reserved for up here. So being a new member of this crew, where while a Darren might be like, oh yeah, this is totally normal, everybody fucking knows what Aether is. You might not actually.
I mean, I assumed something was keeping this massive hunk of wood up in the air, but I didn't quite understand. I still don't understand the science of it all. I just kind of trust in people who are smarter than I.
Yeah, I mean, Leovold would be a good person to talk to, but also probably would not be a good person to talk to about it. I don't know.
He seems like a chipper fellow. I mean, a little itchy with the trigger finger there, but aren't we all at some point? Okay,
No.
maybe not you. Maybe not you. Maybe it's just a testosterone thing.
Darren, I do think that maybe you would reference, being that you've been on the ship maybe the longest of our cast, you might reference, or maybe Leovold. It's either you or Leovold. I'm not sure which one, but it's one of you two. You would probably reference, you might reference Basjavas, who has not met Kelty. You might reference Kelty. To be like, she would be a better person to ask, possibly.
Yeah, you could when we get the rest of our crew back. You could talk to Kelty about it. She also knows a lot and is maybe a little bit more open to yeah. You'll understand.
All right, sure. Yeah, I'll give it a shout. Hey, listen, I appreciate you fixing this up. I think it just would have broken the captain's heart.
Oh,
Have it broken.
I didn't even notice it. If I did, I would have I would have done this already.
Sure. I noticed these. There's no pictures of a wife. Do these kids have a mother?
Oh, yeah. It's I don't want to share the captain's business. I don't know what he would want to tell people and wouldn't want to tell people. And I try to be respectful of other people's secrets, I guess you could say, if they want to keep things secret or
Sure.
just not share.
Totally understand that. I only ask because I know what it's like to grow up without a mum, so it sucked. Wasn't the best.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. This sounds like your father was around?
A lot. I mean, we were thick as thieves.
Yeah, where all have you been? What all have you seen?
Hell, I mean, most of the West, Falkuli. We've sailed around the South a lot too. I mean, kind of passed over the Breach and Alder. Haven't seen much of the East. I mean, I've seen maps of it. You live on a ship, you're going to see a map at some point. Little bit of the North here and there, not very common. I mean, lots of the West and lots of the South.
Man, I've only just. I mean, we've seen a lot of places, but I've only really traveled on this ship. I haven't been on other ships, so it's kind of all I know.
I mean, to be fair, you could do far worse. This is a hell of a vessel. How long have you been on here?
Oh, it's been about 2.5 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That's job security right there.
Well, they haven't gotten rid of me yet, so
Must be doing something right.
I guess.
I mean, what? Forgive me. I mean, no disrespect by this, but like, what actually is your role on this vessel? What do you do?
A little bit of everything. I I don't know how helpful it is for us here, but I like to take I get a lot of information that we maybe bring back or artifacts or whatnot. Yeah, I'm pretty smart. I'm not smart like Leovold is with the engine and stuff, but I can normally kind of pick up on stuff pretty fast and just fill in wherever's needed.
It's a good skill to have. I mean, not everybody like picks up on just a wide range of skills. People tend to specialize, so it's good.
Yeah, I could do a few things. I'm pretty good at fixing stuff and the mending. I'm also pretty good at breaking stuff too. But I can make it better. I'm an okay healer. Not great, but
Well, Darren, here's to the woman who makes things better.
oh,
Whenever we have a drink, cheers to you.
oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
Speaking of which, I am starving. Can you show me down to the mess hall?
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. I guess go tell everybody else too to take a break if they're not already. Yeah, maybe actually avoid engine room still.
Yeah. Probably bring Damien up a bite to eat or so. He's working hard up there.
So as you guys go to find the rest of the crew, Leovold, you're probably still down tinkering. Avriel's napping. Or what is... Wait, hold on. Actually, what is that? Is Avriel okay? Are you okay?
Oh yeah, he's passed out in the corner.
In the engine room?
Yeah,
Just curled up like...
he's like holding his maul like this, with a little bit of vomit on the side of his mouth.
And then Damien is still in the crow's nest, obviously. As a Darren, you go around and let everybody know, hey, we can take we got about an hour before we reach the coordinates or whatever I think you'd know what they were to, well enough to say that, the destination that he told the captain we're going to be there. The captain said about an hour. And the captain said we can take it easy until we reach there. And you guys, in that time, can take a short... You probably, if you were dinged up from the fight before, you have not actually recovered from that yet. So you can take a short rest. You could technically take two. You're going to be an hour. So as you rest, Avriel's already in the middle of his long rest. Leovold, do you take a short rest? Perhaps maybe that's when you do the acid situation.
Yeah, that works fine for him.
In my mind, you kind of return to the sleeping area, and you kind of go over to Leonard's little alchemical station and just kind of fiddle with that while other people maybe somebody brings you a plate of food or something. Bashivus, do you bring Damien a plate of food and the picture?
Yeah, I do. I tried to... I made sure Darren was leading so that I could kind of swipe it.
Do you do that in a way that you don't want her to know that you did that?
Yeah, probably.
Can you give me a sleight of hand check?
I can. 21.
Darren, what's your passive perception?
12.
Do you feel like you would be even thinking of... He's behind you. Do you think that you would be thinking about keeping a tab on him?
Probably not in that way. No, I think she's if the captain trusts somebody to be here, then that's good enough for her.
I feel like also, and you tell me I feel like Darren, given the situation, would be possibly kind of... I feel like your curiosity, but also at the same time, there's a naivety too, kind of on either side. I don't know if that vibes. I don't know if that passes the vibe check for you, but I feel like she could potentially be kind of naive.
Yeah, I don't think she like. It's not a like matter of like just blindly trusting people, but more so just like she blindly trusts. I think the captain and Nettie, and if they say something's good, she's like, "All right, it's good."
Good to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do manage to do that without any type of disturbance. As you return to, you go, Darren, you go round up everybody, turn to the mess hall, get everybody some food or whatever, and you guys go about your separate things. As Bashfus, you kind of separate. Possibly, do you let Troy? I hate you. Goodbye. I love you. As you, that broke my. And I'm so sad. As do you take Hetru? I do believe he asked you to get him tea last session. I think he went downstairs. Do you recall that? And,
Yeah.
And do it.
Absolutely.
So Darren, you get everybody up. Everybody gets some food. Do you? This is actually important. Do you even bother to wake up Avril? Do you leave him? Do you leave him in his poop?
Oh. I think she'd send a mage hand to like shake him. If he doesn't wake up after that, she's just gonna be like, okay.
Do you wake up?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, I get up.
So Darren, not darkness, but okay.
We are no longer enemies, by the way.
Cool. I mean, what if I still wanted to be enemies, though? Like, do you just get to decide whether we're enemies or not?
You kill me well. You like it too, I can tell.
Yeah, not that. Right.
He'll just put his hands on her lips, like this, and be like, "So long and good night," and then just walks away.
I don't know what to do.
You're like a chaotic gremlin.
She's just like.
Do you go get? Yeah, she's just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? Avril, do you go get lunch and then like go back to sleep? What do you? I'm just kind of curious about this. Like, what does this gremlin do?
Yeah, he'll probably grab some food, and just like sit in the corner and eat and just like judge everybody. Like,
Bashawis, do you wake Hetru to bring him the tea, or do you just like kind of maybe like put it near him?
Probably try to let him rest and recuperate as much as possible. Just kind of put it up next to him. Maybe just like gently pat him on the back just to let him know, hey, it's here. If you're ready for it. If not, totally fine.
He rolls over and says, thank you for bringing that.
Of course.
Have I been down long?
Not probably as long as, a good night's rest, but probably 45 minutes or so.
He goes to the edge of the bunk and he reaches down, grabs the tea, puts it to his beak, takes a little sip. This isn't your fault, but the tea here, I shouldn't complain. Tastes terrible, though.
It's no 5-class meal, but nothing on the blue really is.
It's warm and it's liquid, so I shouldn't complain. Thank you for this. Isn't I'm not trying to offend you. You've made better teas. I don't think it's your fault.
Hey. Tell you what, we make port, and I'll make you another kettle of tea?
I bet once we get to Grand Rise, they'll probably have. I would really like a nice golden basil tea, like they had back home.
That does sound lovely. Sure. Yeah. Well, you can you can finish your mediocre tea, or you can take you another respite. You've kind of had a go of it today.
I'll thank you for bringing this to me. He puts a cold hand on your shoulder, gives you a pat, kind of sits back in the bed, kind of leans up against the headrest, and I'll finish this up, and then I'll probably call it a day. Nobody seems like I've been kind of forgotten. I'm okay with it.
You're not easily forgettable, Aetra. I think we just all acknowledge that you kind of took a bit of a beating.
It wasn't my best show.
It wasn't that. I will concur.
Do you need any help with anything? I don't want to be selfish.
No, of course not. If you're hungry for some grub, I'll go get you some. I'm going to take some up to Damien. He's in the crow's nest. Can I take it over?
A little peckish. I'm fine.
Sure. All right, mate.
Don't need to worry about me. Go tend to him.
Good chatting with you, as always. I'll let you know when we reach port.
As you leave him. He leans back, relaxes as you leave to go get Damien, or give Damien what you got for him.
Damien.
You could still be in the crow's nest.
Yeah, I'll make my way up there. Damien, got you some chow, and I did get you your picture frame. Now you're gonna have to come up with some convincing story of how it came into your possession, but it is fixed. I'm gonna hand it out to him.
Oh, I appreciate it, Bashibus. That was quick. You're pretty resourceful yourself, man.
Oh, I try. You pick up a few things.
Look, the captain's only known me for probably a little bit, but I think he'd know that I'm not the type of person probably to do this myself. How about this? We'll say that I found it and that I'm the one who saw it. But, I mean, I think the captain knows that you're the type of person that would try to fix something like this. How about we give you the credit for this one?
I mean, if you insist, I'm not going to fight you on it. Perhaps you'll get some mutual benefit out of it if you found it and I fixed it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to help the captain in other ways. I'm really good at killing things and also looking out for stuff. So this seems pretty good with my forte as well.
All right, mate. You good down here? You need to take a quick rest?
I'm able to kind of just rest looking out at the sea. I think this food's going to be more than enough for me. Appreciate it.
All right, mate. Cheers to you.
You too.
He probably just going to... Do what?
No, I said I'll let you know when we hit land.
Team, what'd you say?
There soon.
Asmus, you go below, take a little bit of a rest, eat your own food. When eventually, Damien, you see, because you're the one who's up top, perhaps you're utilizing, you may have the spyglass, maybe Bashibus kind of pass it off. I think he did actually make a point of doing that. You see this collection of like wooden, I'm going to say kind of like wooden shacks. They're sort of stacked atop one another, hanging from the bottom of the first small little shack. It's just this blip when you first see it. It's kind of hard to tell scale amidst the blue. It could be, from a distance, it could be like a massive structure, or it could just be this little tiny thing. There's nothing really to compare it to. But it looks to be like this collection of little like wooden hovels stacked atop one another that are suspended maybe 30 or 40 feet above the blue by just a collection of massive balloons. And hanging beneath the tiniest little shack is this wooden, like just plywood board, effectively. Maybe it's a collection of plywood boards that have been kind of nailed together, and then a ladder that hangs down. The plywood board that's suspended by ropes attached to the bottom of the shack sits just above the blue, and then this ladder that hangs down that goes up to the tiniest little shack. There is sort of a deck that goes around the whole thing. You see that structure off in the distance, and perhaps yelled back to the captain that you see something, and he would assure you that, like, yeah, that's where that's unfortunately the destination. Would you have any questions, or would you actually announce that? I made a decision for your character. You're muted.
Yeah, I think you would announce to the captain. He'd probably get off the crow's nest and just talk to him. He probably wouldn't like yell it out loud to everyone. One question you would say, he'd be like, "So, should we expect any like forces to arrive or any resistance, or are these guys gonna be helpful towards us?"
No, they're helpful, but I'm just not the biggest fan, honestly. If once we pull up, if you could just kind of, or you or somebody else, handle or Orfsky or Nettie, I don't care who does it, fucking Heteru, anybody. If you could just kind of handle the talking bit, that would be nice. That fucking shack, it's sort of like a traveling inn, I guess you could call it. Don't have much in the way of niceties, but yeah. What can I help you? Like, are you really? You don't know.
I mean, I don't really know what to do either. I'll talk to Bashabis and we'll get something going. I think Avriel is probably asleep, so we'll figure out it's someone to get to go over there and talk to him.
Yeah, Princess Pissy Pants is probably asleep. If you gotta wake him up. There can be a rough bunch in there, a little shady. At times. Definitely watch your pockets. But you're going to need to go there, and you're probably going to meet a fella. He goes by fucking Barb. And we don't like each other too much. We ain't going to start shooting or nothing when he sees us, but I'm just not his biggest fan. He's not my biggest fan. And I prefer if one of y'all just kind of went ahead and took the reins on that. I'd appreciate it.
Well, hopefully Avriel's too tired from his nap to not start any fights down at that bar, but we'll see. Maybe we can carry him down while he's sleeping so that he doesn't cause any trouble.
If you could wake him, that'd be helpful. He's a tough guy, and if anything gets a little bit strange, he might be able to help. But it shouldn't be coming to blows or nothing. Don't go in there with that sort of attitude. Just make sure that just all I'm saying is watch your pockets, watch your bags, watch your anatomy. Bunch of fucking. I don't use the word scallywag lightly, okay? And it's scallywags.
Got it, Captain. You can just relax on the ship if you want, and I'll let you know any updates.
I'll dock us up. I'll hook us in, and then I'm gonna go take a nap, I think.
Okay, got it. I'll talk to Bashabas, and we'll get off. And yeah, I'll leave.
You go let the crew know we docked up, or we're docking up. We're getting prepared to dock up.
I'd probably go up to Bashabas first, and I'd probably talk to him about it. But yeah,
Go ahead.
Bashabas, we're about to be arriving now. It seems like the captain isn't going to be wanting to do any of the pleasantries or any of the talking at the place we're landing at. So it seems like we're probably going to have to do some of the talking.
All right. I mean, did he say why? Typically, they involved in the comings and going of this ship?
He wasn't too specific. He said the one guy we'd be speaking to by the name Barb, he didn't really get along with too much. Maybe it was something with that. He also said that a lot of the people he referred to as scallywags. I don't think they're that trustworthy, and he said watch your pockets while we're here too. So
All right.
gotta be a little cautious.
Good to know. Well, I'll go tell Darren, and you go tell Avriel, and we'll meet up top deck.
Got it. I'm gonna see if I can actually carry Abriel a little bit. Well, I'll see if I can take him without waking him up.
Carry him. You know what? All right, go for it.
I mean, you know how he is, and honestly, I'm kind of the same way too. But if we can get through this without starting a fight, it'd be a little bit easier. I don't want to get on the captain's bad side already. I've been kicked off enough crews.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, I'll go down to Abriel then.
I'll go get a Darren, bring her up top, fill her in on everything that he just told me.
Oh, goodness. We're
Could be a
gonna
hot
have
exit.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
You fill her in on that. As you guys roll up to the port, you guys could technically be on deck when it happens. If you are on deck, you would see the Nomad roll in kind of next to the bottommost decking that hangs from this collection of strange structures. And several people that are higher up would throw over or like just essentially hooks hanging from rope. From your perspective, you can't really see what they end at. And the captain, if you're up there, you could assist him with grabbing the ropes and the hooks and hooking them to various parts of the ship. And then once you're all like secured off, if you're below, you'd feel maybe a couple bangs, you'd hear some voices up above. If you are up top, give me a perception check if you feel like your character would be up top.
Damien rolled a 16.
15.
I'm bringing some real Vinley energy to this with a nat 1.
There it is.
For
There it
3.
is.
It's not negative anymore.
That's good. That's good. We're not in the net. Yeah, we're not in the negatives. That's always a plus. On the 15 plus, the people they're kind of higher up, so there's like this bit of an angle. But it does appear to be a lot of halflings, like little smaller folk. A few of them appear to be like gnomish, and then a good bit of dwarves. And then amongst some of the other people that appear to be kind of just moving about up there that aren't actually taking part in the labor of this, that maybe they're just people that happen to be here, just a variety of races, elf, half-dragon, orcish, et cetera, just, sort of all over the place after that. As you guys begin to hook up, finish hooking up, you feel the ship kind of lurch a little bit as it's then slightly lifted, and the captain says, you can just go ahead and you can start clamoring. They're going to take a minute to get us up top. We'll pop a hole in the bottom, drain this sucker, close it up, and we'll be on our merry way. Barb, I didn't really include too much about him. Dwarvish fella. He runs this fine establishment. He's gonna want payment. Don't let him. He's gonna try. If he goes over, if he says anything more than 100 gold, tell him that I said to go. No, never mind. Tell him no. Just tell him no. Captain told me that ain't right. Offer him 75. If he sticks to it, we'll go as high as 100. But we're not going any higher. Anything over that, we'll just blow this thing out of the sky.
And should we bring up that?
You tell him I said that.
And should we tell him that you're our captain, or do you think he would try to raise the price if we told him that?
No, you can tell him that he knows. He already knows. I just don't feel like being. I don't want to talk to him. I don't feel like dealing with him.
Okay, got it. Thanks for the warning.
The ship begins to kind of get hoisted up slowly. What'd you say?
Worst case scenario is killing him off limits.
I mean, I would say we don't go to murder. It's possible you might have to rough him up a little bit, but we can try to avoid it. But if you gotta get into a little bit of a brawl, I'd appreciate it if we didn't murder anybody. We don't need that getting back to the council or nothing. Yeah, try not to murder.
Got it. Just send in the ground rules.
Yeah, murder off limits. If you are under my employ, if you murder somebody in order to save my own ass, I will have to fucking just your ass will get marooned. So unless you feel like paddling, try to stay away from murder.
Got it. Only murder people if no one knows about it. I gotcha. Gotcha, Captain. And I'm gonna do a little salute.
That ain't what I said, but you're not wrong. But you ain't right neither. No murder. Darren, watch this. Fucking, you ain't gonna don't let nobody murder nobody. And in fact, I feel like you got a good head on your shoulders. If they start spouting off, and don't let fucking Princess Piss Pants do the talking. All right.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
Preferably.
Also, do I?
Let Silvertone. He points to Bastion and says, "Let Silvertone over here do the talking, and maybe chime in occasionally." Darren, old fucking Barbie. He might take to the female a little bit better than the male. A little less. He doesn't like to be threatened.
Do I have to roll to see if I wake up a Darren? Or I mean, not a Darren, Avriel. Because I did want to see if I could pick him up.
No, I think you can pick him. Your character's certainly strong enough to just hoist Avriel if you so choose. He is covered in poop, probably based on his previous description.
He sharded.
I would guess that we would
very
change, I guess, before we, or at least threw like a jacket or something on him so that he was presentable. It's not noticeable. Well, we'll throw a bunch of clothes on him because, I feel like Damien doesn't feel comfortable enough taking his clothes off that he'll just throw an extra 2 layers on. So he's almost like a little cocoon. I feel like at this point, of clothes. And he's just carrying them on his back.
I feel like at some point do you protest this?
No. I like to go on rides sometimes. This is fun, I guess.
All right, so that's canon. You cocoon him and toss him over the shoulder, and you Shrek him. You Shrek him. You go to the first decking, and you make your way up the ladder. And as you climb that ladder, there is a porthole at the bottom of the first shack that the ladder then ascends up into. As you go up into that room, it's this shabby space. It's probably 8 by 8 square, just this little one. And there's another ladder that goes up to another hole in the ceiling. And here on this first floor, you're greeted by a gnomish gentleman with a ledger and a halfling. The halfling, he kind of helps you up a little bit. He stops when he sees the thing on your shoulder. He's like, "Is that a delivery? I don't think. Marn, did we order something?"
No, you don't want this delivery. It's no.
My mate has just had a little bit too much to drink. We He's already actually puked already, and he's already been rallying. He's already getting actually back into the party. Don't worry about him. This is a daily occurrence for him.
Is he? Does he partake in the drink? If you bring him to the top, if you can rouse him, there is some nice dice games going on up top. We're in the middle. There's a pot, 50 gold to enter if he's interested.
Well, I'll let him know once he rouses up. I got to get him a drink, though. I think that will get him back into it.
Feel free to go. Up top, we are currently, we have a few spirits that are at a cheaper rate. They're going fast. Deals will be done soon. Actually, he pulls out a little pocket watch. There's 7 minutes and 37 seconds until the current happy hour is over. So you better hurry. How can we help you, gentlemen? We're currently, we were told by the owner of this establishment to hoist your ship up. Is that correct? Before we fully commit to that, we were told the process. If you are docking here for the day, 125 gold.
Well, how about we talk to Barb about this? I heard that he was somewhere on this good establishment.
Excuse me. And he turns to the gnome. He says, "You can give me a perception check, as a matter of fact, actually."
Can we all make one?
He rolled an 8. Damien rolled an 18.
I also got 18.
Dirty 20.
Ooh. He rolled quite well, actually. So you can't, you do hear him say the gnome's name. As he turns, he's like, Marn. And then he gets in like really close to the gnome, and he got a natural 17 plus some stuff. So you can't hear him afterwards. He makes a show of like being like kind of like he gets in his ear and like cups himself. And then he talks to the gnome for a little bit. The gnome shakes his head, thinks, shakes his head no, leans in. The halfling says something else, and then the gnome writes something on the ledger, and the halfling turns. He says, "You can meet with Barb. That isn't his name. You shouldn't call him that. He's Barnabas, and don't call him Barb. He does have an appointment that he's in. If you all could maybe go up and just relax for approximately 30 minutes, I can retrieve you. My name's Heffley. If you need me, you can talk to most people up top and say that you need Heffley, and I can come. But in the meantime, drink, fight, gamble, whatever your poison is. In the meantime, we'll continue to hoist, and we can discuss. We will let you discuss that with Barnabas when the time comes. Is that okay with you, lads, lasses?"
Yeah, of course. Sounds like we better hurry if we're going to get up there for what's left of happy hour.
Yeah. He took about 6 minutes and 22 seconds. You could do the math on that.
Right. Well, Heffley, we appreciate your service for us. Most appreciate it. Do our characters have money? Do we have starting gold?
Yeah, and I would say that you'd actually be able to add a little bit to that. I'll make it a cool just for the sake of convenience. You don't really have any expenses on the ship. For you and Damien, because it sounds like we're somewhere. You've only been there for a few weeks. So actually, you pretty much have your starting gold, and then you have a few more gold. So it's 1 gold a week. For Avriel and Darren and Troy, I'm just going to say add, for the sake of like, you'd have a lot of gold probably stashed. For the sake of like this interaction, you have like an extra 100 gold because of the time you've been on the ship. And maybe, let's say, just to make it a little bit fairer, there was like an initial bonus, like a sign-on bonus of like 20 gold for you and for Bashiavis and Damien.
Knowing that he'll flip him 3 gold as a tip. We appreciate you getting this done for us expeditiously, Kansa.
Heffley, thank you kindly. He turns and he gives that to Marn, and Marn, the gnome, writes something on the ledger.
Before we leave, because I saw him talking with like the one gnome earlier. Can I like would Damien be able to do like an insight roll to see if like he's hiding anything or like see if he's like nervous about anything?
Yeah, you can do an insight check for sure.
With that is a dirty 20.
When you say hiding something,
Mostly,
are you looking for anything particular? Like you said, he's nervous. Heffley comes across as very nervous. Marn comes across as incredibly stern. The Heffley's like super anxious, high energy, like all over the place. Marn is like just like flat. He's just like a statue of a little gnomish gentleman. Heffley, I didn't really describe him. He's wearing like a little coat. It's got like some kind of ragged like wooden buttons down the front, just like this little vest. And then he has like a white shirt on, just like a regular like cotton or wool, just sleeved, short sleeve shirt. And then he has like a little black belt, little like breeches that kind of are a little too small even for him. Like they're just like, you'd think you'd be able to get pants that are big enough for a halfling, but these ones are still kind of short. And then he has these socks that are pulled up over the breeches, and these like nice little shoes that appear to be like a black leather or something. And then Marn is kind of in similar attire, but much nicer. It's like properly made, has little copper buttons. His belt has a little copper, what would that be called? Like the metal bit of the belt. There's a name for that, but that's copper. And then like his shoes have like a little copper. Again, I'm forgetting the name of metal bits for things, but his shoes have like little metal bits that are copper, and then it's like all sort of like this like blue black color. Very well put together little gnomish gentleman.
Yeah, so I think the spot that Damien was like focusing on,
and
I think he was focusing more on like when they had that little conversation about Barnabas and about the money and everything. It seemed like they were like maybe hiding something or talking about something, like maybe seeing if they like weren't giving us the full information on Barnabas or like the stuff going on with their conversation.
That they're not giving you the full information about Barnabas?
Or yeah, like basically what's going to happen with our ship and everything. Yeah, like the deal that we were talking about.
At this particular moment, you would feel a little bit. I would say that you definitely feel untrusting of both of them. Whether like they're hiding anything about Barnabas, maybe not necessarily. He very well may be kind of tied up in something at the moment. It's very possible that he does need 30 minutes to meet with you. But certainly you feel like they're kind of, it probably doesn't cost, the normal price is probably not 125 gold. And given what the captain said, you would be like, yeah, that's not, we're going to keep it with the cap. These guys are, and I would definitely say they give off a little bit of shady. Heffley's a little shady. He feels he's very nervous, very anxious, a little bit too high energy. He would give you the creeps maybe a little bit.
Okay. And I feel like when we go up the ladder and we get like an aside, I'd probably tell Bashiavis that too. I probably wouldn't share that as much with the group because I don't have any like evidence or anything. But
as you get up to the second shack, there are some like couches down here. These like red velvet couches. It's still like really kind of like this part of it's very beat up. The couches look like they're not the same shade of red. There's one that's like kind of a velvet, like nice couch, but it's really like dirty and haggard. It looks like it like floated here. And they were like, that's good enough. And there's just these collection of like love seats and couches and stuff. And there are like various peoples just kind of sitting around drinking. There's some card tables that are out. There's some people playing. There are some men and women in like kind of like nice, sort of like what Heffley was wearing, where it's like nice, but it's run down attire, that are like coming down the ladder, and then they'll go over with like a thing of drinks, and somebody will exchange some coins, and they'll put down some drinks, and then they'll kind of move around the room, chat up some of the customers, and then go back upstairs, or go back up the ladder rather. Here in this second space, it's kind of loud and boisterous here, loud enough and boisterous enough where you would feel like, we could have a conversation, and there's not anybody that's going to be like listening to us necessarily. If you wanted to share that information with
Oh yeah, no, I probably would just
Bastianus.
say that like out of character, but yeah, no, Bastianus, the guy you gave gold to, I'll admit I have a little bit of weird feelings with him. So keep your eye out a little bit, and just in case they do anything before we end up talking to Barnabas.
Of course, mate. I share similar sentiment. I got my eye on him. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm gonna go get Avriel a drink. That'll keep him comfortable back here.
You guys go up to the third floor, which is a bigger thing. There's people out around the deck. There are halflings, gnomes, dwarves that are moving around doing stuff that look like it probably pertains to your situation. We're getting to the end here, so I'll kind of like wrap it up with some quick descriptions. But it looks like there are like various kind of like cranks and levers that they're running to and cranking up these ropes. And it looks like they like tie the rope to a different crank that then hoists higher. And they're in the process of like doing this like switch off to get the ship fully cranked up all the way to presumably, I guess, the top. From now, your point of view, when you look up, you just see a floor or a ceiling, I guess, really. So it's kind of hard to see where the ship is now going, like how, now you've kind of lost perspective of how high this place is. But you can hear just like patrons are like leaning over the thing, talking to each other, drinks clanging, people moving about. There are servers stuff going around. And then you can kind of see into this third story space, which is it's more like a cozy tavern, like wooden tables. There's stools about. There's like a kind of a wraparound bar with two big posts that hold up, presumably, the fourth floor. And then there is like kind of a big portly gentleman who is behind the bar. He's moving around, serving out food and drinks and stuff. You can see that in the back of this space, there are two doors that occasionally a server will come out of with like a plate of food or drink or something. That wraparound deck that runs around the outside of this building, you see it goes over to like this kind of overhang that has a large telescope attached to it. And there's some people standing around that. Occasionally somebody will look in and kind of move it around. And then there is one more ladder inside of the third space that goes up. But there is a dwarvish gentleman, probably actually two dwarvish gentlemen in similar sort of like fake night. Again, it's like kind of like this like face nice attire standing outside of front of that ladder. And occasionally somebody will come up that ladder and ascend. And then somebody else might come over and the doors like push them back. And that's where we'll end this session. And we'll pick up there, and we'll meet Barnabas, and we'll pop a hole in the sucker and drain it. July 11th, you said, right, Tom? You can't come, which is in the future. That's a little bit way out. I actually think that lines up well because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be at the beach. And I'm not going to have my good computer, so it's probably best. Also, did you guys? I did see my Wi-Fi drop a few times, and we did identify actually the Wi-Fi problem at this establishment here. So hopefully I'll be able to get it fixed soon. But I also felt like my connection was maybe a little bit better today. Did you guys see any? Did I go robot a couple times? I did see my Wi-Fi drop. It felt like maybe it wasn't as bad because usually somebody's like, usually I completely lose you guys for like 30 seconds or something once or twice. That didn't happen.
There's only like one time where I was like struggling to hear all of it, but I caught enough.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully, the Wi-Fi extender that's here doesn't work, so it's actually disrupting the Wi-Fi in the house. Or at least it's what Verizon said. They might just be blowing smoke up my ass. But hopefully that's true, and I can get that fixed, and then we're good to go. That being said, next week we'll be on. I'll message you, Andy. And then everybody else, I think we're okay. Tom as well. Tom, I did the math, I think, and what did it come out to? I think it was like 14 sessions or 12 sessions.
It's 15.
15?
Yeah, we rounded it
I'm
up.
not very good at math. I fully believe you. I'm going to try to keep track of it, but I'm an ADHD little tiny special boy, so I'll probably lose track. But we're at 2?
We're at 2, yeah.
And if you do want to come to, do you want that to count for Starfall? Or do you want Starfall to be separate?
If I decide to come to the other one, then maybe I'll just use both. Like, you let it take over for both.
I mean, we can like eat through it. It's up to you how we handle it.
Yeah,
it's your money.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with Starfall. Just going like normal, and then we'll just use the
through it.
Yeah, that works.
Aetra, if you do decide to come to Aetra, that is going to be biweekly.
Okay.
And I might use. I'm not sure yet if I'm going. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with the off week. Maybe I'll do another game. Maybe I'll do something else. I haven't decided yet. I'm still considering.
Also, I might have misheard. Did I hear that we're level 3?
No, you didn't. You didn't do. We just had a blast. I'm doing. You got to do a bunch of cool fighting in the first session 0. Now we're character developing, guy.
How'd you guys like that
All
voice?
right, we'll level up in a little bit.
I dig
Which
it.
one?
I would like to apologize now. I feel like I talked way too much. Sorry about that. So sorry about that.
No, I think you did great.
No, yeah, you're good.
No, I try to balance the role play with everybody to the best of my ability. Caitlin, Connor, Tom, and Troy have all played with me for like almost a year now, so you're good. They have the trust that, like, if anything, I think, maybe not actually, I might be speaking out of turn, but I do believe they have the trust that, like, if I try to pay attention to everybody equally.
Yeah, and naturally there's gonna be a face of the camp of the group, so that changes from session to session.
Well, and your accent, the Australian talk as much as you want, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep doing that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You're the DM now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I am the captain now.
Yeah.
I will say, Damien's
I do.
Throughout the campaign. So.
You're gonna eventually. You're figuring it out.
Well, I sometimes lose it. Like sometimes I just do like a deep version of my voice, and then sometimes like I actually try to like make it like a deep, like different voice. So like I feel like each week it kind of just changes. But
eventually we'll meet Grandpa Ode and Ona, and I might have to do a Japanese accent. At which point, canonically, Damien will have to become Japanese. And
I think what I need to do is make my own Japanese accent, and then you have to make it like relevant.
You have to like pretend. You're gonna make up some bullshit. If you can hit me with that. You can come to the next session and just have the dumbest bullshit accent ever. Like just make something up, and then it's like, well, that's what Omiyoji sounds like, right? DM. And I'm over here just like, oh fuck, you're right. Oh no.
Listen,
so
you can totally just use the Nemoidian accent from Star Wars. Newt Gunray. Oh, she cannot do that. Shoot her or something. It totally works.
Yeah, It does work. Yeah. It might be I'm recording, so I gotta be careful. but
Right.
It'll be fine.
Mhm.
That's true. There is a digital footprint, so I gotta watch out.
Asian people don't even have the internet, so
Canceled. Canceling.
Wow. And in recording.
it's
Got it.
over. Yeah, now you're screwed. No,
We got him, chat.
yeah.
We got him.
He's been caught. Andy, I do like to say, usually around the second or third session, reviews are great. If you can throw me a review, fantastic.
Sure thing.
If you want to wait 2-3 more weeks to get a vibe, if you're not there yet, that's totally fine. But if at a certain point you do feel like you're like, yeah, I'm down, I'm with it, I'm vibing. If you could throw me a review, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Gotcha.
And these guys have already done it, so I'm not gonna harass them about it anymore. I don't know if Troy ever wrote me a review. Actually, I gotta double check because he's a jerk. But I'll see you guys next Thursday.
I did have one more question. Not next Thursday,
Go
but
ahead,
the
yeah.
Thursday after that is July 4th. I'm assuming we're not playing on July 4th.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, we won't be playing. That's kind of sucky. That means there's gonna be 2 weeks where we don't play. But yeah, we're definitely not gonna play on July 4th.
Sure.
For sure. It's the summertime, so yeah, I am going on vacation July 6th to like 12th or something like that. And is there anything else that fucks me up? This pertains to, I actually got to tell, next weekend I'm going camping. So Aetra, I guess it won't matter for Aetra, but for Starfall, this is for Tom and Kaylin. Starfall next week. I guess I can just deal with that on Saturday, can't I? I'm jumping the gun there a little bit.
We'll see you.
So yeah,
Saturday.
I love you guys. Be safe.
Later.
Later.
I miss you already. I'll see you on Saturday and Sunday.
Bye.
Good night.
Right.